계획서 대신 사직서가 반려되었나? 저녁까지 기다리게 만든 것 치곤 특별할 것 없는 답변이고 예상과 조금도 다르지 않아. 환상치가 거울오는 말에 현혹되지 않으려면 계속 이렇게 생각을 입 밖으로 내는 게 좋아. 생각과 달리 익숙지 않은 말에 기시감이 따르거든.
Okay. Here we are. Let's get out of that menu. Yep. Hello, hello. Hello, everyone. Dun, 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 dun. Ba-da-ba-da-ba. Bam, bam, bam. Bam, bam, bam. Bam, bam, bam.
환상치가 걸어오는 말에 현혹되지 않으려면 계속 이렇게 생각을 입 밖으로 내는 게 좋아. 생각과 달리 익숙지 않은 말에 기시감이 따르고.
Okay. Let's start off with a little mini gamba. Yoink. Ah, damn. Nothing cool. Wife cool. Wife good. Okay, let's see.
작전 계획서 대신 사직서가 반려되었나? 저녁까지 기다리게 만든 것 치곤 특별할 것
Our job today is to progress through the interval low. And that's exactly what we're gonna be doing. Monastic experience. Stages. Okay. Actually, let me make one module so it keeps recharging while we're doing this. Okay. Photos. After the battle, something sits ill with me. Amid the sprawl of Escope's back streets distorted with the flash, Angdu had her gaze fixed somewhere high overhead. And at the end of her gaze, are those photographs? A long line stretched across the open air, photographs hanging from it like laundry, clipped to a clothesline. I mistook it for a kumju at first and gave it little attention. Yet upon closer look, I saw those pictures hanging from the line. Perhaps they had been strung within the darkroom and remained thus when distortion took hold. Bizarre. Observation of unaffected elements in a space occupied by a location-type distortion is most irregular. Indeed. The items we bought from the studio have already changed into images of various sites of Escope, yet these alone remain as they were. Let's take them down and check them ourselves. Oh my god. Just as I was wondering if the line was perhaps too high for me to reach, Marisol stepped forward and plucked a few photos off it. And the instant he brought them to me, we heard another pop, and again a bright white flash blinded my vision for a moment. Good grief, the distortion likes to change its mind, huh? It keeps changing between S-Cope and N-Cope. This feels like getting caught in a flashbang detonation. My whole body tenses up and goes slack right after. The other sinners were busy grumbling about the distortion and its sudden jumps, except for Marisol, who stood right in front of me, with the photos still held out in his hand. No, he didn't drop them. No. He gave his usual short answer, then returned his attention to the cylinder he had been shaking. He took the film out of the container and flicked the liquid off it with clean, controlled motions. Is the processing finally done? Wait, we're back here with the lights on now. Is it okay to take the film out? Yes, exposure to light will not damage the film once development is complete, and the image is fixed. There is no cause for concern. That's a relief. I couldn't say I followed all the technical details, but no cause for concern was all I needed to hear. Sighing in relief, I held up the photograph so I could take a proper look. So, see anything on there, Manjibud? There are people in them. People in the photographs all look different from one another. If I had to pick one similarity between them though, they all look cold and indifferent. Yep, that's the city alright. Ordinary folks you'd see anyway. This one looks more artsy than most though. These aren't like the photos we picked up at the studio earlier. Are these the kind of photographs they used to make hand experiences? What was that? The scenery around us seemed to ripple just now. Yeah, I'm seeing that. I was about to ask Faust if she'd also felt a strange sensation, but it faded away soon enough. Perhaps it's nothing serious. Bullshit. Oh no. You do not do this, Dante. You're our... I'm the magic clock man. I gotta tell everyone when my magic clock senses some bullshit. Maybe it was just a spell of random vertigo. Is it even possible to get dizzy when you get a clock for a head? No. Marisol must have noticed that I was out of sorts for a moment, because he seemed to pause on purpose before answering my question. No? I thought you said docugraphers take those photos to put into canned experiences. Raw ingredients for canned experience are handled exclusively by the grand magazine Sisyphe. There is no known method for external parties to access them. Sisyphe... what? Oh, I think I've heard of it. Canned experiences, right? They're in high demand in other districts too. But the only brand stamp on them is Grand Magazine Sisyphe. Same name every time. I remember some of my classmates bragging about trying them whenever exam weeks came around. Never had one myself though. Can't really explain it, but something about them just feels kind of wrong. It's that popular, huh? The unpress-based content of canned experience, known as experience beta, is supplies to reprocessing factories where docugraphers fine-tune the experience details. Photographs are primarily used for that purpose. So I'm guessing this is kind of like... Now, it could be just my mind understanding things differently, but this sounds like just a classic BD from Cyberpunk, yeah? They can fine-tune experience? An easy example for understanding would be to consider why docugraphers take pictures of subjects such as buildings. A purchaser may wish to experience living in a luxurious building that they could never afford. Another may wish to vent out impulses of violence by experiencing the burning of an expensive property. Demand for haute couture canned experience is increasing by day. So that's why the photos from earlier were all fancy buildings. Yes, manager. Conversely, information concerning ordinary experience that can be easily encountered in reality is in low demand. Then why photograph these residents at all? Perhaps these were not images harvested for their commodity value, but pure photography in and of itself? Perhaps they have been captured for a desire to seize a vanishing instant through a lens. These are people who take photographs knowing that it would cost an exorbitant sum. I have seen some before. A staggering amount of money just to take a single photo. That is, if they could even manage to find a photographer who would take a risk and help take the picture. I'm not so crass as to put a price on sentiment and nostalgia, but spending this much money on film rolls could have made this investment worth it. I'd say maybe this isn't just a matter of sentiments, or memories even. Leafing through the photographs, I quietly expressed my thoughts. Executive manager? I'm not exactly an authority on distortions, but I know they manifest through desires or emotions that become warped in bizarre ways. But everything the distortion has shown us so far points back to S-Corp. That is, the S-Corp from the past that only Kim and Ang-Du would have seen and remembered. These photos, though? They're completely untouched by the distortion. Doesn't that feel off? There must be a strong fixation at play here, strong enough to slip past even a distortion. And if that obsession is something that refuses to let these memories be influenced, I think our next step should be to look for the people in these photos. These photographs are the only undistorted, unaltered clues we have. Dante says it would be advisable to locate the people shown in these photographs. Ooh, good idea. Team leader did say that we should accept input from the LCB with open arms. Hey, do. Can you get me the office catalog? We'll probably need to commission an office affiliated with 7 Association. Let's look for one that we can take the request right away. Can someone tell Ezra we're flying? I think I know where to find these people. Dante says one of the people shown in the photos has already been found. What? When? How? Well, guess I'm just having a lucky day. I pulled the radio from my waist and switched it on without answering Ezra's question. DWRC, I think she said the regroup clock. That one was especially hot to understand reissue. Eh. Roger's with you, right? Can you put her on? Okay. Roger, you there? What? Dante wants to talk? One sec. I kind of went overboard with the bread and pastries. My hands are completely full over here. Pastries? What kind? Just one of everything? Neat! Can you grab extra brioche and baguettes for me too? I love the ones that's from that street. They're so good. Hold on. I gotta readjust the pile if I wanna... Just throw them on TF. They're packaged. Are you sure? You can't treat food like that, okay? Bread has... bakers have feelings too, you know? How do you think the baker would feel if they knew someone was treating their precious babies like trash? This scabbard is rattling again for no reason. Anyways, Dante, can you give me a sec if you need me to fight? Just need to cram these into my pockets real quick. No, it's not a fight. Huh? Then what's this about? I took a closer look at the words written on a wiki basket in the first photograph Marisol brought me. Where's that bakery you're at? Interesting. I guess Dante is getting better at the whole let me see through everyone's eyes. Bread queen. Okay. Ah, I know who you're looking for. The owner of the bakery was a woman holding the same wiki basket as the one in the photograph. She took one glance at the picture I held up for her and gave a quick nod. This man, he works in Cannery 17 right next. He's a regular. He used to drop by every morning to buy sandwiches to share with his co-workers. Haven't seen him around lately though. And his co-workers, I assume they were wearing the same uniform. Asking the question on my behalf, how to show the baker another photograph. Probably? He was always wearing one too, I guess. I'd guess it's from the cannery uniform. This confirms I'm lead, executive manager. A few inquiries at the cannery should bring us to the information we need. Yeah, you're right, but... It's just that she doesn't seem very concerned at all. She's one of the people that photos that weren't affected by the distortion, right? Thought she'd be a close acquaintance. Allow me to verify, executive manager. Do you know the name of this regular you spoke of? His name? Am I supposed to know that? I wasn't expecting her to actually know his name. The apathy evident in her voice gave me pause. He took a photo of you. Wouldn't it be reasonable to assume that you're well acquainted with him? Oh, that! The baker's demeanor changed when Altus pressed the point. She gave a strange, unsettling smile before pulling something from her apron pocket. Oh yeah. She's definitely twitchy right now for some reason. I wonder why. A thin and round, can-like object. He said he'd give me 5 of these canned experiences for free if I'd let him take my picture. Even said he'd throw in the docograph of the building of my choice. He docugraphs buildings, right? I hear he even takes work trips to the Nest every now and then. So I asked him to get me a docograph of this lovely mansion I saw by the Nest suburbs. I know I'll never get to afford a beautiful place like that, but this way I could at least experience what it's like. Gosh, it was everything I'd ever hoped for. I couldn't quite put my finger on it, but there was a distinct eeriness to that dreamy, blissful smile. The baker's face, that sent a chill down my spine. Yeah, something about her is definitely... Young Marisol? Are these canned experiences truly possessed of such marvels? To pluck all semblance of reason from one's countenance? They maintain high demand across the city. District 14 is the only one of several markets. Does that mean that those who indulge in canned experiences may experience venturing on an expedition to the Great Lake and bungee jumping off the summit of that skyscraper yonder as they remain seated where they are? They may. However, A magic can, allowing one to pursue any dream the heart may conceive. Verily, I confess my own soul is much tempted. Don, you wouldn't be actually adventuring. You wouldn't actually be doing anything cool. You would just be watching it. It's like a movie. A brain dance from Cyberpunk. It differs from pursuing a dream. Mass-produced canned experiences are made from base experience matter mixed with various modified information. The resulting end product enables intense simulation through altered memory. Therefore, it is unlike the dream as expressed by Don Quixote. A piece of memory refined along the numerous processing stages of the cannery production lines is not equivalent to genuine experience, meaning the usage of experience in her previous statement must also be amended. Memory is altered for intense simulation. That does sound quite shady. How doth this cast a shade upon the boons granted by the can? Adventures and tales are forsooth inclined toward a little grandeur. It is because the memories provided by canned experiences are extremely vivid. Statistics have shown that users of the cans interpret them as authentic experiences and become dependent on them. A possible cause of the formation of dependence patterns is that canned experiences allow one to feel as if the one had achieved a dream that is in reality impossible. Art thou implying that the users are made content with devouring forged dreams stored in an instant use cans? Exactly. Or still, the user may no longer strive to chase dreams in a waking world. For the sweeter and more splendidly a dream is embellished, the more impossible it will appear to be grasped with one's own hands. To become a cause for surrender instead of inciting one to march forth, verily doth it not annul the significance of dreaming itself, if the resultant dream rouseth not the spirit to gallop toward it? Whether that annuls its significance, I cannot know, but they sell well. So, how much will you be buying? By what? You came barging in with all these questions. I was patient enough to answer them politely, wasn't I? Don't you think you owe me a sale or two? You're not about to leave without buying a single loaf after crowding my bakery and scaring off my customers, are you? Her case was on point, actually. With our whole group gathered around, the passerby gave us wide berth and hurried on, whispering among themselves. Nobody was about to come in and buy bread like that. Come on, lady. I practically cleaned your shelf already, didn't I? You did? Why the hell are you keeping all that, then? Do you even gotta ask? Because I had some already. And the rest is safely tucked into my coat pockets, so we can all share later. Roddy, I love you. So you already ate some. Let's buy a little more. It's true we scared off the other customers. Understood. Given that the expense is made to facilitate this operation, the lack of prior budgeting should not pose a problem. Oh, nice! Sesame rice bun for me, please. You ass! What are you doing here? No, it doesn't work like that. She's keeping the bread with all her scent. That is not the line I expected to read first thing, you know? Like, I don't mind it, and I agree with it, but yeah. Hi, Rumples. I agree with it. I understand it. I sympathize. I wholeheartedly support it. But this is the first thing that I read today. Oh my god. I'm first in line for bad bread. Let's put it that way. I want to eat at Roddy's bakery. Especially after a long day of, like, tough work. When she's all sweaty. Okay. I'm trying to be normal, okay? I'm trying to be normal. I was holding myself fine, you know? Everything was going fine, I was just reading, and now this happens. My brain cannot handle even the smallest stimulation. I can't. Who's Kim? He really did have a knack for making an entrance at the least expected moments. So, have you tried Limbus yet? Or is that like on the back burner for the foreseeable future? Hey, mister! Where have you been this whole time? Wait. Be cross with me all you like, but just give me a moment. Ezra paused, waiting in puzzled anticipation. Only for Kim to take a sesame rice bun from the baker's hands and chomp into it. Alright, I'm ready. Freaking waste of bread! I will play it, have it in my library. Software developers are freaking maniacs. Yeah, it is what it is. But like, have you launched the game? Question. Like, that's something important that you gotta think about, because when you first create an account, when you first start the game, there is like a welcome event. You know, like, hey, if you keep logging in, we're gonna give you a bunch of free goodies, kind of stuff, right? But if you log in and then don't, like, if you start the game, like some guys that contribute code expect me to work on Sunday. If I don't, they are eyeing my history, etc. Damn. That's kind of fucked. But yeah. It's just to if you have launched the game, make sure to, you know, keep logging in every day to at least, you know, progress the welcome thing. Yeah, like there is you will be getting like a little bit of resources when you start the game, and it's like you get a free character and a free ego of your choice from like an earliest seasons when you start the game. So yeah, like you want to log in at least every day to just like, you know, use up energy and all that, but you will be forced into a little bit of story when you first start. It's maybe like 20 minutes. After that, you kinda just can log in over and over, which is what I would suggest you do, personally. Ezra's angry fist drove straight into Kim's solar plexus, folding him to the ground like a crumpled sack of potatoes as he rolled away. At this rate, the owner might start charging us for the whole bakery next. Roof and all. Best get away from here. Manager. Mersault approached me as we walked down the street with Ezra and Kim still squabbling behind us. He was holding a roll of something brown and tightly coiled. Okay, when I started the download, the stream got stopped. I will do it after stream. Yeah. Well, all I'm saying is that once you start the game, once you get into the game, like for the first time, once the game logs you as a, like you started, you logged in, you played for a little bit, the whole welcome event starts for the new player. And after that, you kind of have to keep logging in if you want the rewards, because it's not going to wait for you. You have like, I don't know, like some time to keep logging in. So if you stop, you're not going to get the good shit. Like, just warning you, because I've seen some people get fucked over with that. Like, until you have actually logged in and, like, properly started, it's fine. And that's the thing. He was holding a roll of something brown and tightly coiled. Yeah, no problem. Just, you know, if you want the freebies, I gotta warn you how to get the freebies. I've completed development of the film per your instruction. Oh, so this is the film in the canister you were shaking. Do I just unroll it? Hold it up against the sun or other sources of light, as it is a reversal film. The images should be visible as they were photographed. I had no idea what a reversal film meant, but I did as he said and unrolled the film. We'll just be playing Senran Kagura Peach Beach Splash while I listen to the story. Ah. Okay, interesting. Interesting choice of game. Interesting choice of game was all I can say. Not a good choice, but not what I expected. Especially after Polo also played it recently. Okay, I can see it. Huh, that's pretty cool. Oh, is it showing? Can I see too? Move it over a bit, let me have a look too. It was hard to make out the details because the images were too small, but I could still tell the strip was packed with almost identical pictures. Is this the same person in every shot? In the same pose in all of them? Huh, you were right. No, wait a second. See the arm here? The further along your strip you go, the lower it gets. Yeah? And the head looks like it's turning to the right. Huh? We were all squinting up at the tiny frames on the film when Sinclair suddenly flinched and went stiff like he'd seen something he shouldn't have. A second layer of color drained from his face. Sinclair? What's the matter? This reminds me of something I learned in school. You draw a picture in the corner of a stack of notes or a thick book in the exact same spot of every page. You start with the arms down, and then you make one small change on each page, nudge the arms up high and high until they're raised all the way. And when you flip the pages fast enough, the drawings stop looking like separate images. There is still figure that starts moving. That class was called Introduction to Motion Pictures. I remember the teacher saying that video footage we watch are all made the same way. And he's saying that it's a continuous sequence of still images. The arrangement of the frames suggests that this film strip is highly likely to constitute footage, a violation of NCORP's taboo. I still don't know what NCORP's taboo really is. Okay, clear within 10 tenths, shouldn't be that bad. Sure. I'll go with this.
이 경로는 숨어들기 나쁘지 않군 거래.
Oh crap! As soon as I register Marisol's words, my hand reflexively threw film to the ground. Are we gonna be okay? Might have just broken a taboo. My mind began to race, rapidly traveling back to our journey. Specifically the time when Don Quixote had smashed that window at K-Corp and caused the wing to wipe out our team multiple times over. I felt faint. At least we had Virgilius with us when, and it ended up being not that big of a deal at the time, at the end of the day, since I could revive the sinners, but some nasty taboos can get us in serious trouble just for carrying anything that has to do with them, can't they? I hurriedly turned towards the sinners, many of whom looked every bit as troubled as I felt. Still, a few of them expressed a casual lack of concern, citing all the crazy things we've gone through so far. Miss Faust, what'll happen to us if this gets the manager killed? Okay, so this is it, huh? Stop freaking out, guys. They're not dying. We'll be fine. NCORP's not gonna kill you on the spot just for possessing a film roll. Really? Well, it might be a problem if the film roll does contain genuine recorded footage, but it's not like you guys had a hand in filming it, right? When NCORP dudes get here to pick it up, just comply with their commands, thank them for their service, and nicely hand it over to the authorities, and everything should be A-okay. There is a possibility that everything will not be okay. Eh? Because I have developed the contents of the film roll in that darkroom. Oh. The court will take the lack of intentionality into consideration. However, it is very likely that my actions will be deemed as aiding the primary violator of the taboo. Really? But... Team leader said that NCORP has their own regulatory standards regarding image quality, which they use to determine the severity of taboo violation. If the footage image quality or frame rate is within regulations, NCORP won't be sicking their fixes on our butts right away. And that could buy us some time or give our company some leverage to make a deal, however small it might be. Because what they're really sniffing around for is how close the reality the video is, or how close of an experience it provides to real life. So if we're really, really unlucky, and they actually come after us, it's going to be fine as long as the footage is low fidelity, probably. So what exactly does frame rate within regulation entail? It means that the interval between each frame shouldn't be like super brief. Think about photo slideshows. They only show one image every few seconds, so it doesn't feel real or vivid, right? You can technically call them motion pictures, but there is no vividness required to violate their taboo. Then let us analyze this film roll and see how vivid it really is. Marisol, I trust that you are knowledgeable in subject concerning NCORP, yes? Cooperate? Could this film roll be considered a violation of the taboo? Altus picked up the film from the ground and showed it to the Marisol. That cannot be determined, unless each frame is thoroughly analyzed and compared with adjacent. Without waiting for Marisol to finish, Altus unrolled the film and erased it against the sky. The rest of you get over here. We must analyze these frames. The film canister was labeled experiment, so I assumed the culprit had created this as a test run of sorts. An experiment to see how close they could get to violating a taboo, and testing the limits of the law. May even be a mere collection of similar photographs that are pretending to be recorded footage. The sinners all gather around Altus and look up toward the unrolled film in unison. Here, the flower pot moves between frames, doesn't it? The docugrapher couldn't possibly have moved the pot while also holding down the shutter button. I don't see any difference. See here? The expression risen on the subject's visage appears rather stiff. Maybe they're just a gloomy sort. Perhaps, yet observe closer, the stiffness arises not from gloom, but from strain to maintain it. Ooh, if that's the case, maybe the subject really is trying to fake an actual footage by moving very, very slowly. It's a pretty convincing theory, but I'm not sure if that's enough to conclude that we're in the clear just yet. That's when bamboo-headed Kim, who had been sprawled on the ground ever since Ezra punched him, stepped into conversation. Let's see, look at the shadow cast on the windowsill. See how it noticeably shifts between each frame? Whoever made this knows their craft for sure, but I can't imagine Backstreet's dweller would have any way to mess with the sun's trajectory. Then the likely scenario must be that the creator of this film deliberately made its subject move very slowly from frame to frame, creating a series of disconnected photos that, when played sequentially, would look like a footage that violates the taboo. In which case, this film roll does not violate the Nest taboo, correct? That is highly probable. So he says, Executive Manager, we should be in the clear for now, at least in regards to aiding the violation of a wings taboo. Phew. But if he was willing to go through this much... But if he was willing to go through this much trouble just to test N-Corp's patience, it's hard to believe that he'd have stopped there. Brain work, mouth work, combine. Based on all available evidence, Executive Manager, it seems reasonable to conclude that the inflection point of this case is taboo violator on the run. Huh? But what motive would they have to do that? Sure, working for a wing subsidiary has nothing on being an actual wing employee, but it's still pretty up there when it comes to careers available on backstreets. Work for a subsidiary long enough and you might even get transferred to a factory job on a Nest. And gives you a pretty okay chance at a better life, so... Maybe he's just tired of living that kind of life. And everyone has one of those days, don't they? The sudden feeling that you could be doing more than live the rest of your life in 9-to-5 hell. The drive to do something that takes you away from the pressure of trying to make a life. Yep. Something about what Ishmael said must have ticked bamboo-headed Kim, because he suddenly whipped around toward her and shook his head. Maybe. But how many of those people do you think are capable of throwing away everything they've built on a whim? From what I've seen, maybe our culprit just likes to play with fire. Play with fire? Yeah, must have started by doing something that technically doesn't count as taboo, and inched on until he brushed thrillingly close to one. One thrilling shot through the camera, and another with the next, until eventually he ended up recording actual footage. Cool, then that leaves the question, what the heck was he trying to do with it? Might have been trying to screen it using a projector for all this part of the backstreets to see. What? But wouldn't that make everyone here, even those who unwittingly came across the projection? Right on. It'd have made those folks violators of the taboo. But why would anyone? So would you care to explain how you know that, Mr. Breadbrain? Asked around on the opposite street, and apparently some guy's been going around asking workshops if they could make him a projector. Seemed like most of them turned him down, but they also said that he stopped showing up after a certain point. Fair to guess that he got his hands on a projector somehow. Alas, is it not a taboo of N-Corp to view recorded videos? Pray tell, why would any insane mind... Well, it ain't taboo if you only made a projector, innit? Backstreet's blokes down for anything long as they're coin. Huh. So how do we track this guy down? Multiple individuals in the same garb as the Pinframe team have been identified in the vicinity. They're all carrying the same briefcase. Oh, well, isn't that convenient? Maybe we can play this like a festival or a convention and just tail people who look like they're involved with what we're looking for, so they'll lead us to whatever we need to go. Indeed, at architecture conventions, there would be those in formal plaid shirts and suspenders milling about, and I could always trust them to lead me to the convention venue. Uh-huh. And was it common for those plaid shirt fellas to look around like they're scanning the area? Did they also go around checking people against photographs? Or collect evidence? Please advise for... They're also radio at each other, glaring at people like they're glaring at us? Perhaps you could answer that series of queries yourself. Nope, this crowd sure don't look like they're gonna let us follow them. Okay, let's then beat their ass. Oh, this is one of these fights. Time to win the clash. That's my wife. I don't remember under what circumstances Roddy reuses her coin. I need to check it. No, you win that clash. Nice, that guy is just deleted. Hey, at least they have a cool uniform. You see, there is a big downside to a complete white suit. There is a very big downside. Because everything will stick out like a sore thumb whenever you get it dirty. Especially blood. Which, you know, case in point for this guy. You gotta be careful with that kind of stuff. That's why I prefer to wear, you know, mostly black stuff. And plus, you know, that's why I wear brown pants. Ah, yeah. This is like the Deadpool joke from the movie. Ah, you see, I wear red so that people don't know when I'm bleeding. And you see, that guy in brown pants has the same idea. Like, black clothing can be really classy, it can look good, and so can white clothing. But white clothing is just gonna eat shit if you're not careful with it. Deadpool was a cool movie, good times. Yeah. Shame that, you know, in general, movies lately have been so ass. Like, I never really liked movies generally, to begin with, that much. Never really bothered watching a lot of them. But one thing I gotta say is that sometimes there are good movies. Deadpool was one of the movies I actually went out of my way to watch. But lately, whoo boy, not exactly the thing that I want to watch. Most of these movies that especially Marvel is coming out with, ugh. Black clothes will suck in the sunlight though. Nah. Sure, you'll get a little bit hot, but it doesn't matter if you're already hot. Which is why I really like women in black clothes.
오늘 할 거 다 끝난 거 맞지? 그럼 약속대로 이 만화책이랑 해결사 잡지 가져간다.
또 한 줄 길을 남겼고.
Yeah, I don't watch any movie for the last couple of years. I'd rather watch some anime slop than a Marvel movie. I'd rather watch anything other than Hollywood slop. Just if we're being real.
이 홍로가 무얼 바꿔?
Because anime is fine. There's a lot of fun to be had. And in anime, there's girls with big tits. They're cute girls. They're attractive girls. Everyone they're making in Marvel and like in the recent years is just awful. Why? Okay. Oh. On crit reuse the coin. Gotcha. Anime, at least we get some fan service, yeah. Yeah. If they don't realize that people like to look at, you know, nice things, then fuck them. Well, I mean, that's why Hollywood is kind of dying as of recent years. The story is garbage, but we get cute girls saying ooh ooh. Exactly. At the very least, we get that bonus. Okay, I'm not gonna uptie her yet. I still might need to get stuff. But anime is at the very least interesting more of it most of the time. Because at least it gives you something. Like anything. What I don't like is when they try to make a pretentious movie, it turns out to be really ass, and then they blame people for not watching it. It's not my issue that you made some dog shit that nobody cares about. I enjoy, like, take for example Spider-Man stuff, right? I'm a huge fan of the, like, OG Spider-Man movies, you know, Tobey Maguire ones. They were nice, they were fun, they were cool. I enjoyed them. But they just cannot let Spider-Man go. Like, Andrew Garfield movies for Spider-Man, I mean, as an actor he's fine. But the movies themselves were ass, sadly. Tom Holland ones are kind of hit and miss for me. I really enjoyed the one with, you know, Spider, you know, the crossover one. No Way Home, was it? So I'd rather at least watch something that is potentially interesting. There's plenty of anything that I can do with my time. At the end of the day, video games are a completely different substitution for movies, if you think about it. You still get story, voice acting, cutscenes, everything. You have all of the cool stuff. You can just watch it. Where is chat? Why is it not showing up?
놀랐어? 조금만 더 힘내자.
Talking about fan service, I pressed print screen so many times in Peach Beach that the screen is bugged and notifications are stuck on the screen. You see, this is where your issue lies. In that game you need to try to be the very best. You're meant to win instead of look at hot women. Hot women are reward for performing well. Just go into the intimacy menu and that's it. Yeah, about video game substituting movies. Have you seen Sekiro anime trailer? If there was a newest one, no. Last time I've heard anything about Sekiro anime was like some months ago. But I imagine it's gonna be good. I doubt that From Software is gonna allow one of their most popular, like, not franchises, but one of their most popular properties to just eat shit, right? I still need to finish Sekiro. Like, I know the game, I know the endings and everything, but it's just, last time I played was like 5 or 6 years ago. And I kind of, like, stopped halfway through because I was grinding for levels, trying to get everything before the end of the game. And I just kind of got bored. But out of all of the From Software games, I'd say Sekiro is probably my favorite. Like, by far. I like how it's, how do I describe it? I like how it's, like, it forces you to get good. Yeah, but the game is already so freaking cool, the enemy seems like a downgrade, honestly. Rather you gotta fight the final boss. Yeah, I know, I wanna fight Ashina. I wanna do the whole fucking lightning reversal, I do wanna do that. But, damn. It's been such a long time since I've launched the game. Like, I'm not kidding, it has been ages. They still have it installed, it's just, I don't know. Old man Ishin just pull a Glock and shoots like 9 times. And now for my secret ninja technique. Shinobi Glock.
대체에게 일격을 가하는데 성공했습니다. 샴페인을 가져오기엔 너무 이른 타이밍이긴 하겠지만
I'm sorry, young master. I could not obtain the mortal blade, but I found this Glock.
목을 떨고 고작 이 정도 탕류의 허덕이다.
Yeah, I probably should finish it at some point, but Yeah, if he had another face, he would probably pull an AK-47. Just... There's probably mods that have made, like, custom boss fights at this point. The game has been out long enough to where the people have broken it down to something like that, right? I've seen people do that kind of thing with Elden Ring a lot.
제가 늘 말씀드렸죠.
Surely they have done the same thing with Sekiro by now, no?
좋아. 생동감이 살아있는 좋은 공간이 됐고 다음 먹잇감도 이런 식이었으면 좋겠어.
획대에서 내려.
At least it would make sense. Hardly a challenge. What a waste of time. Ew, well, at least they're not much of a fighter one-on-one. Service de Cluse is not a combat specialized department. While they have all undergone basic combat training for exigent circumstances, they are not prepared for head-on conflicts such as this. Yeah, I noticed. They kept taking pictures of us with their briefcases. I'm guessing that's their primary job description. There is a mod for Tony Hawk skating in the Sekiro map. Not quite what I was... Not a thing that I was relying to, but hey, modders get a mod. There's probably a mod that replaces the wolf with a hot anime girl. Definitely. What are they snapping away for then? Whispering behind our backs like a load of creeps. Collecting photos to include in the report for their higher-ups, I'd wager. I can kinda see how they could think that we're involved in this somehow. Every time they followed the lead, they ended up encountering us. It's hardly a surprising rationale. Marisol stood a footstep away from the rest of the sinners and watched in silence as they tried to come up with an explanation. What is he thinking? What is it that he wishes to say? Or is he simply contemplating, observing, without any preconceived notions in his mind? His silence shouldn't have been any different from his usual reticence. Words. Why are there words? But as though by some chance or whim... Hey, Marisol. I was struck by this sense of brief, yet distinct strangeness. I was compelled to speak with him. Yes, manager? Don't hesitate to let me know if there is something you want to say, but aren't sure if you're supposed to say it. Yes, manager. I will do as you ordered should one such circumstance occur. As always, his reply was deflatingly concise and direct, as though he had some rule of his own that told him this was the specific response for situations like these. Okay, but I'm talking about right now, actually. Do you have anything to say right now? No, I do not. It did not appear to me that he was trying to hide anything or choosing his words in response to my question. His reply was simply that, an answer, nothing more. Yes, a prepared answer written down on a list of responses. That's what it felt like to me. As though this particular answer had always been the only one he had available for situations like this. Clearly, prodding him for answers wasn't going to get me anywhere, so... With a curt, sure, if you say so, I turned away from him and took off to join the other sinners. As I did so, a few words lingered at the tip of my proverbial tongue, asking to be let out, so I did. Would have been nice to know what you were looking at. Of that, he spoke. I cannot form a judgment. What? That is because the precise definition and nature of the subject of my gaze are just as unknown to me as to you. Should you point to an object or an enemy, I can provide a verbal explanation based on my current knowledge. If you require such information, please rephrase your question accordingly. Had I asked him again then, had I tried to get to the bottom of that line of question, could I have found myself the smallest beacon to Marisol's psyche, which had remained entirely shrouded in mystery even after an entire year of traveling together? I suppose that's not up for me to judge as well. Manager? Yeah? Another battle is imminent. As you have previously instructed, I have informed you of an imminent battle. Yo, Boss Clock, you're just gonna sit there all day while we do all the fighting? They're pouring out of that building over there. So they must have been on their way to the building. Our path ahead seems clear, Executive Manager. Let's neutralize those foes and head up there. Okay, gotcha. Be right there. The brief lull of battle came to a close. And battling enemies who arrived precisely at the time Marisol had predicted, we made our way into the building. Bloody hell, them blokes we fought downstairs must have been the weaker ones of the bunch. How does NCOP have so many guys on their payroll? There's no end to them. Ha, it is a wing after all. Are these the taboo violators? I thought the culprit worked alone. No, I'm quite certain they're the ones from the subsequent reports. The NCOP fixers appeared just as confused as we were. It was clear to me that they were expecting to find a taboo violator here, not a big group of dozen or so people. What were they thinking, sending fodder like us to deal with an organized taboo violation? They should have sent taboo hunters here instead. Why do you think they told us to consume canned experiences containing mass melee combat? Must have thought our current manpower would suffice to deal with this. I don't know about that. Hey, Endless, welcome. How you doing? Can't stay long? Well, you're here for a short time, but a sweet time, yeah? Wait, wasn't there an extra report? That one of them is a... All of a sudden, have fun experiencing the monastic or whatever. Doing just that. With a click, the room began to buzz with a metallic whir of some kind of machinery. And immediately, I could tell what it was. Distortion. Standing in the middle of the shabby room was a device I wasn't sure if I had seen before. Its exterior was plastered with strange shapes that looked similar to what we just saw on Chuan-kun's faces from earlier battles, making it difficult to grasp its full shape. Hey Toppat, my bad T-Corp shit got me and I needed to pay up. Uh-huh. How much money, how much time did you have to, you know, cough up for them? At least an hour. You had to cough up an entire hour of your life to the T-Corp guys, imagine. And they weren't even as cute as Autis. She was in the negative. Oof. But hey, now you're here. Now you get to experience this bullshittery. The round object affixed to it began to rotate slowly with a dull, worn-out groan of a thing past its prime. Man, shield your eyes. The moment it began to emit a faint ray of light, brother, what the fuck? Autis thundered in a commanding voice. Yay, now we can get flashed. I want to get flashed by Autis, Radia, Ryoshu, Ishmael, Faust, and Dom, please. I'll take Moses, Ezra, Angdu. You know what? I'll take Nelly, Josephine, Sod. I'll take Sod. I'll take Valencina. I will take... yeah, you know what? I'll take the Tian Shasta. I'll take the lady from the Ujat. I'll take the tomboy girl from this. Of course, I will take Rufo. No. There is no dibs. Too late on that. I'm just naming everyone. She was already on the list. I'm being flashed by everyone. I need that shit burned into my retinas. I quickly turned away as well, making sure not to catch even a glimpse of it. The device could be playing a recorded video, Executive Manager. Even a brief look at it could constitute a taboo violation. Shit. I saw that. I'm so finished. Just as panic began creeping into the voices of several unlucky individuals, everyone send the hair. Skincare. What? I need to drown in women. And that's the thing. That's the way I want to go out. Oh man. Folks, this is starting to get a little embarrassing. A sleepy voice breaks through the darkness past my metaphorically speaking shut eyes. Mento? Eyes open, Angdu. What's wrong with everyone? Got dust in your eyes? The hell's wrong with you? Don't you know that everyone who watches even a split second of a recorded video in NCOP gets... Of course I know, but I watched it anyway. Don't we all? You underestimate my power. Open your eyes, esteemed fellows. This motion picture isn't recorded. Hang on, he's right. That video's not a recording. Possibly emboldened by Kim's comment, or perhaps believing that seeing the video could be excused as incidental exposure incurred while subduing violators, the NCOP employees also opened their eyes and began to mutter amongst themselves. Is that thing talking to us? I finally allowed myself a good look at the machine, which was firing a conical beam of light against the side of a wall. And this was its message, delivered via white words and a black background. So you've tracked me down this far. After what I went through to take refuge in here, I still ended up finding this place. All of you, blindly consuming fake experience after fake experience without even a care about the real thing. Case number TC3224, you're under suspicion of a Category 3 violation. Reveal yourself now and forfeit your illegal recordings. Should you comply, we will. What is foolery but witless buffoonery in the absence of fools? The fuck you just said? The fuck did I just read? What the fuck did I just say? What was that? What is foolery but witless buffoonery in the absence of fools? What the... Okay, let me try and break this down. What is foolery but witless buffoonery in the absence of fools? Kim, I'm starting to hate you right now. Bamboo-hatted goat be talking random shit. Motherfucker playing Malkavian in the Masquerade the Bloodlines. Motherfucker. The hallowed vessel bereft of all but lingering delusions grants not even a brule of echo to the dogged excavation of tools. Okay, you just say that. What's this fellow on about? Set me up. If you mean to obstruct our official duties, we won't hesitate to use force. Clang. Without even so much as turning around, Bamboo-hatted Kim raised his sword and parried away the NCOP employee's nail-shaped weapon. I'm only speaking as my whim guides me, my dear fellows. No need to get so huffy. I only aim to say that this abomination has no consciousness. After what I went through to take refuge in here, I still ended up finding this place. All of you blindly consuming fake experience after fake experience, without even a care about the real thing. It's repeating the same sentences over and over. Now that does make me wonder, was I just far gone? Was I just as far gone when I distorted? Past all words and reason? I mean, if anyone has an answer to that question, it'd be you folks, right? Kim said nothing more. He turned a piercing look on us, all the while effortlessly swatting away the NCOP's employees' attacks. As though he was goading us into telling him the truth. Well, don't suppose that's any point in asking. I'm no different from this abomination. Just as it wields that contraption, I must have wielded the only thing I've really known, the blade, transforming into a mindless fiend consumed by a mere tool, cleaving through both friend and foe unrestrained. Hey, Junior. Are you still on about that? I tried to avert my eyes, I truly did, but such disregard is easier said than done. How can I, when that distorted being has no qualms showing me the... Doesn't he know how rude the unsolicited reflecting on the fathoms of one's heart is? That's got to be illegal or something. Illegal, I say. Turning a customer into a thug on protection racket run, a mere ant before a car in motion, into a swerving driver. Conjuring dead followers before the eyes of their mentor, simply unconscionable. Rude as hell, as some might say. My poor heart almost burst out of my chest, courtesy of you. All of you blindly consuming fake experience after fake experience without even a care about the real thing. In that split second, I think I saw Marisol's eyebrows twitch. A battle is imminent, manager. Just a natural response to sensing an imminent battle. Imminent battle, perhaps. Pop. Fucking flashbang. Blinding flash followed by an explosive bang. My vision immediately went white and decided to take its damn time coming back. And when it did, the first thing that came into view was a particularly unsettling landscape of Esco, followed by Bamboo-hatted Kim surrounded by a small army of Chuankun. Mentor! Keep that up and you'll shout me deafening, do. Isn't it about time we both grew accustomed to such sights? Mentor, still, do I wake from these dreams drenched in cold sweat? They might bind and drag you away. This isn't so bad, is it? It's just these folks so far, unlike earlier when another Can you stop with the fucking flashbangs? What was that? Everything went dark. I don't understand what's happening, but first things first, we have to neutralize everyone here and get our mission back on track. Adjusting projection. I've been straying far and wandering all day for this exact reason, and so that was its mechanism. Faust? Wars began to shift rapidly before I had the chance to ask Faust what she had meant. To the one who finds comfort settling in lies, I give you what most deserved your gaze. Stop with the fucking flashbang, please! Bollocks. I'll be blind before today's over at this rate. It changed. Did? Unlike the early instance, one of the distortions is different than the others. As Marisol identified, there was something different about the group of Chokun this time. They were accompanied by someone else. A warrior in impressive armor, wielding a sword that was just as tall. That armor, and a great wonder of the Soul Circle. To be reunited in such a manner. The warrior drew a bow that hung from the waist guard and knocked an arrow. I suppose this is how it would have gone down had you been the one to grab me. Military Commissioner Im Guyong Iop. Guyong Iop. How do you fare, friend? At the signal, arrows loosing. Seize their curse. Accused. The warrior loosened the knocked arrow, which soared into the sky with a piercing whistle. And with that air-splitting sound as their cue, the Chuan-kun began to swarm us. We're almost at the tomboy GF part of the intervallo.
도시에선 저런 형태로 사람을 감호하기도 하나 봐.
Damn. There you go, Windows clashes. Tomboy, peak. Yes. A dark-skinned Korean tomboy. In other words, peak, as you said. Tomboys is something that needs to be more prevalent in the world. Tomboys are the peak of female everything. Tomboys give us life.
무상은 없음. 불끄덕 지원해.
이건 직원들에게 유리한 상황 같아요. 이 상황을 개체를 제압하는 데 이용할 수 있을지도.
Yeah, that's actually really good. Overall, let's go.
12수에게 명한다. 이 앞에 숨지는 자 누구 하나 살아남지 마라. 목을 떨궈주마.
제압 개체에게 큰 피해를 준 것 같아. 교육부의 직원과는 완벽한 공감이 있어.
It wouldn't hurt you to roll one head, please. Monogatari introduces a peak tomboy girl in around episode 5. You're still trying to get me to watch that. Why do I need Monogatari when I have Limbus Company?
먼치킨 압도적인 장면. 가끔 질릴 때도 있지만 역시 늘 먹던 맛에서만 느껴지는 도파민이 있다니까.
And that is the question you gotta ask yourself. I can guarantee you that not a single character in that anime can come close to the peak of Rufo, for example.
우수하다는 것이 증명되는 것 같아. 다행이군요.
Does the anime have tomboy hags who are war criminals? Does it? Because we gotta be honest, that is the most important part of the equation.
너희가 걸어야 할 수라의 길은 여전히 그 끝이 보이지 않는 만큼 멀고 또 멀고.
There is a tomboy vampire girl that killed a shit ton of people. But is she a hag war criminal? Because Limbus Company has at least 2 war criminal tomboy hags that I need to absolutely sandwich me and dominate me. Well, technically there is a more feminine hag as well, who is a war criminal, but she's not a tomboy, but I still like her, and I want her as well. There is another tomboy girl that rips the belly of the main character, grabs him by the intestines and spins him around, breaking all the furniture in the room. You see, when some people say that they want to foot a girl to get into their guts, I think they mean a bit of a different thing. What it do, what it do. Also, you gonna try and keep Rodion all to myself? Shame, shame. Of course I'm keeping my girls to myself. You can say that perhaps I am a little bit greedy. Sure. Perhaps. But have you also considered the possibility that sometimes you have to be selfish? Sometimes you have to be greedy. Sometimes you have to fight for what is important, which is the thick thighs, the thick sweaty ass of a girl you like. Have you considered that?
가치 없고 죽어.
and beat his ass. Well, ain't rewarding if you don't fight for it. Exactly. So I gotta defend it with everything I have.
보세요, 관리자님. 다들 역경을 이겨내고 유능한 직원이 되었어요. 이번엔 도움이 됐을까요?
Actually, I'm gonna save the higher tier skills. Okay, can you later look into the toothbrush scene in... Are you talking about the toothbrush scene where the guy is brushing the teeth of a girl? Is that the scene? The one that everyone knows? Is that the one, perhaps? Because I might know that scene. Yeah, that one. Second season. That's his sister, by the way. Yes, I know, that's what makes it hard.
직원들이 개체를 제압하는 데 성공했어요.
You're saying it like as oh, it's his sister. Yeah, duh, that's what makes it good.
우리 부서의 직원 숫자가 월등히 적은 것에는 다 이유가 있지만 뭐 그만큼 탁월하다는 뜻도 된다는 점을 명심해주면 좋겠어.
시간 끌 것 없이
It's a very important scene.
모조리
Yes, but also,
승리를 위해 살아.
of course it's important, that's why it's there. You know, it reminds me of that, any of you know, you know, ZZZ, Zenless Zone Zero, the game? There is a character in that. Her name is Polkra. She is an anthropomorphic cat woman. And to promote her character, the trailer for her was not like combat trailer, was not like some important deep story or development. It was a 2-minute long, beautifully hand-animated video of her getting a full body massage and moaning. And it was very important for the plot, of course. Yep. What is the name? Pulchra. P-U-L-C-H-R-A. I mean, if you just type in ZZZ massage, you'll probably get it. That was very important to the plot of the game, clearly.
위험을 모르는 건 나쁘지 않습니다만 좀 무식하게 돌격하실 거라면 전 빠지겠습니다.
흑승, 뒷박질승.
I'm watching it right now. Good. Get cultured.
무상은 없음.
Wish I'd forget so I can watch it again. Nobody's stopping you to watch it now. But the first time experience is important.
그래도 언제나 추월할 수는 없으니까.
True, but still.
엄마가 검을 들고 나갈 때마다
Damn, she was ready for her at the end. The disappointment.
엄마가 돌아오지 않는 거였어. 너희는 어떠냐? 사이 돌아올까?
So, as you can see, they know what is important.
거짓말쟁이가 되어버려.
What truly is the most important part of that story. I'm sure Dawn has got this. I don't gotta use a... Actually, no, fuck it. Dominator. But now you know that culture exists everywhere if you know how to look for it. Dominator? Got it. Yes, Don. Get your strap on. You know what must be done.
흐름을 따라 달려가면 역시 여기 숨어 있었네요.
Am I supposed to win this in 10 turns as well, or am I not? Because if I am, I might have to redo this fight at some point, and I don't wanna. Oh yeah. Look at Don's strap-on coming in. Funny thing, in Nissa Monogatari, after the toothbrush scene, they are walking together and have the idea of doing a reverse shoulder ride.
뒤로 물을 수단은 이제 남지 않았네.
Okay, reverse shoulder ride.
무레배들에게
When you say that, does that mean that he gets to ride her shoulders? Or does that mean that she rides his shoulders but with her cooch in his face? That is an important thing to know.
목을 떨궈주마.
Where the dude stands on his sister's shoulders and she carries him upward. It gets super weird, because first his legs are hitting her chest, then his balls are hitting the back of her neck, very funny. He is also terrified of the height. That is a very roundabout way of telling your sister, hey, I want to teabag you, you know? Very roundabout way.
요새 일 말곤 할 게 없어서 그런가 자꾸 대기 타게 된단 말이지. 해결사 영상 보는 거랑 좀 비슷한 느낌도 있고. 솔까 이건 좀 재밌을지도.
Is this guy... Does it only take damage from... Other than skill damage from skills... Okay, not base skills, so I can use ego skills for this. Which is exactly what I'm gonna do. Because I gotta heal up a little bit. But hey, incest is wincest. What can I say?
앞에 항상 정해진 답이 있는 것은 아니니까. 그래도 좀 더 옳은 형세가 맞나.
But that is also important because they meet a new group of characters that are doing something just as weird. A woman standing on top of the hand of a doll lady. Uh-huh.
저대로 돌려보낼 생각은
Side-eyed by cat? Come on. I didn't say anything weird. Does the fight end when I break through the shield? No. But hey, Blue. Welcome. We're talking about normal things. This is our place. This is where we are normal and expressing our opinions. You can say whatever you want. You know? You're free to say your opinions too. Even if they're wrong. Of course, that's why I'm here. Exactly. A fellow culture, of course. You see, the issue is that there are people who think that stuff like Coffin of Andy and Laylee is bad. And the issue is that they just don't know what the fuck they're talking about. Okay, Angdu, I'm gonna need you to not do the stupid shit. Rodia, what the fuck are you doing, girl? There we go. Nothing wrong with expressing oneself, even if it's so questionable that you will have to double triple check. Yeah? Well, here's my opinion, right? Internet gives us a free enough place to express what we want to say, and even if we don't normally say it to begin with, essentially, right? Internet gives us the freedom to unleash our inner wants and demons, you know?
숨통 끊기. 매뉴얼을 만들어두길 잘했네. 그렇게만 해.
That's BS. That's gonna hurt. Yep. One thing I'd like to say, if nobody hates us, then we are not making that much of a difference in the world. We're only limited because society set a boundary. Yep. I'd rather just, you know, be realistic. I know what I like, and I'm gonna be honest about it.
그 외부 강사들 손가락 안에서도 내로라 하는 실력자들이었을 거야. 너희가 보여준 혹은 더 대단한 기술을 매번 엄마에게 가르쳐줬거든.
Okay, so Dawn, I don't need you to do that, but I need you to do this. Perfect. Now everyone is clashing, and everything should be fine. Okay, so the fight was to clear the... Oh, there she is. Then I shall set my form right. Just a little more, I think we might be able to smash that dang thing to smithereens, but... Yeah, but it's really hard to focus on one thing with that huge warrior zapping in and out of reality as soon as we make ourselves an opening. Exactly, if they don't like what I'm expressing myself, they can suck my dick. Exactly. Fuck 'em. And this is the important part about the whole internet thing. But especially making a community for yourself, or finding a community when you can express yourself. The point is to be yourself. That's just the reality. I don't... Like, if someone doesn't want to hear what I have to say, guess what? There is a funny little X in the, you know, top right of the of the browser, or whatever the fuck you have. You can not listen to what I have to say. Nobody is forcing you to listen to what I have to say. If you like it, I'm here. If you don't, fuck off. I mean, at the end of the day, everyone gets their own opportunity to say the things that they want to say. Like, that's the beauty of the internet. It connects us regardless of where we are in the world, what age we are, what gender we are, whatever the fuck. We can say whatever we want. But if someone tries to tell you, no, you cannot say that, fuck you. I have just as much freedom of speech as you are, so fuck off. It is important to listen to why people hate us, but if the reason is dumb, there is nothing to worry. Now, okay, there are good reasons to hate someone, right? If they're a genuinely bad person, if they're doing something genuinely illegal, or very, very, very immoral, yes. But if someone tries to judge you based on your preferences, on just like your just views on certain things, fuck off. I care more about the opinion of a shit I took 3 years ago, you know? It's like someone tries to tell me that, oh, this is bad, you shouldn't do that. No, fuck off. Who are you? You're trying to dictate me how to live my life, how to be myself? No, fuck off. How about you shove a rusty cactus up your ass and then we'll see how you want to sing, yeah? Yeah, but it's really hard to focus on one thing without huge warriors zapping in and out of reality as soon as we get close. It'd make our lives a whole lot easier if we could get rid of just one of them. Yes, as an example, if someone says I'm a bad person because I liked an anime, then fuck him. Exactly. Or, you know, there are those brain-dead people who are like, it is bad for you to like a game like Pragmata or a game like Stellar Blade because some bullshit reason that I don't understand them. Who cares? You dare enter my house and rearrange my furniture? How dare you? Exactly. Indeed. You try to tell me how to live my life? How about you take a sip from a cup of piss I'm gonna pour you, and then we'll see how you wanna tell me what to do. You see, normal people, I'm gonna serve lemonade. You get a cup of piss if you try to tell me what the fuck to do. The battle seemed to be taking a toll on the sinners, more so than usual. It wasn't that we were up against an insurmountable foe, not even close. Not to mention how Ezra and Angdu were here to help us out. But... shite. Haven't they had enough? About time they give up, ain't it? Why, don't go legging it again. That big sword-carrying fella sure is kicking our butts, but I don't know if they're the key to solving this distortion. We ain't exactly flush with options, are we? Our exit's blocked, and it ain't like we can stop mid-fight to strategize. With the battlefield constantly shifting and flashing between N-Corp and S-Corp, we simply did not have the breathing room to focus on either the projector or Im Gyong-Yeop, who was swinging that great blade with frightening force. Besides... Hangdu, go cover his back too. It shall be done. N-Corp was sending far too many people against us. There weren't that many at first, but it seemed that the sudden spike in employee casualties in an area so close to the nest had alerted N-Corp to our location. How do we go about this? Faust, Autis, help me out here. I decided to stop racking my brain trying to navigate a situation I know so little about and instead rely on the sinners with possibly more experience in the field. First, I need to know if there is any way we can deal with the endless reinforcements N-Corp is sending after us. And second, will defeating Im Gyeong Eop or destroying that projector bring an end to this distortion phenomena? If I may speak freely, Executive Manager, it is unlikely that our present force will be sufficient to overcome the current rate of enemy reinforcements. Not only is the battlefield situated in close proximity to the enemy stronghold, but there is an unpredictable variable in that strange machine that makes neutralizing even a single wave of enemies difficult. Gotta go, dude. Okay. Thank you for dropping by, Blue. Holy crap, her sword is massive. Whose sword? I regret to be the bearer of bad news, but we are trapped in a battlefield with but a single exit, which the enemies have already blocked. Without reinforcements of our own, there is little hope of prevailing through the current predicament. Yeah, seems that way to me too. But maybe if we can neutralize the distortion phenomenon at the very least. Faust recommends entering the Dungeon of Fathoms as our exit. The lolly that showed previously. There are no lollies in this game. As far as I know, like, children do appear in this game, but not in that manner, so... During the LCB regular checkout back at the LC, everyone here is a grown woman. He says that all you have to do is read what's on that note in front of the distortion. Apparently it's some kind of a code. The short stack? Right, the keyword. I mean, I'll see which one you mean once we redo. This one seems to be a location type distortion, which means that regardless of where the bright flashes take us, N-Corp or the twisted caricature of S-Corp, we're still within its range. In other words, as long as I have the right keywords, I can summon an entrance to its Dungeon of Fathoms from anywhere within it. Okay, so what are the keywords for this distortion then? Hohenheim had provided us necessary keywords for his distortion back then, but this time we had to figure it out on our own. First things first. One of them has to be photograph. It's obviously been present throughout the entire phenomena. If I may, perhaps experience may be one of them. Yi-Sang put his 2 cents in, having briefly retreated from the battle to the backlines. There is an undercurrent of obsession with experiences staining his every trail. It must have aught in relation to what has caused this distortion. Experience. I hope you're not meaning Faust, right? You're not meaning one of the taller ones, right? You're not meaning Faust, are you? Experience. The concept alone lacks substance. It must be something more grounded. Something that is at once synonymous with experience, while maintaining a through line to N-Corp's technology that was the core of his obsession. Canned experience? Most likely, thinks Faust. Alright then, photograph, canned experience. Not Faust, the other one. Okay, we'll arrive at her, whatever. Not seems to transpire as of yet. It didn't, but I could feel it. Are these the kind of photographs they used to make the canned experience? Ah, photographs and canned experience. So that's what that strange sensation was. Mentioning that word shook the distortion and caused the rippling effect. It was clearly not enough to force open the Dungeon of Fathoms. How many other keywords could there be? Scraps. Sorry? Oh, I thought we were all talking and taking turns sharing what must have caused this distortion. And go on, by the way, you folks were saying your piece one after another. I thought it would be some sort of Zen riddle. Not a Zen riddle, no, but where'd scraps come from? See, when enjoying the benefits of slacking off at work, all kinds of my identities come to possess far more interesting qualities. Sometimes even revealing secrets invisible to eyes focused elsewhere. Take a person of interest, to wit. He has been poking around this area of town with an eye-wateringly expensive camera in tow, so conspicuously that every store owner I'd lightly prodded for information had tales to tell about him. Each tale added another facet to the long saga of once driven man, a man with a can-do attitude, an uncanny ability to pull himself up by his own bootstraps, and a clear path toward Nest residence, who became so bewitched by photography that he eventually squandered his fortune on what was, in the end, nothing more than a pastime. And that went on until he found himself reduced to a pauper, barely making rent on scrap heap of an apartment. In pursuit of his ideality, the man has lost grip of fortune and reality. Fucking poetry ass. I sought out his apartment and found a few scraps of his writing. When cold rain drips through the roof, when mold and tepid humidity together encroach from the earth, the wind begins to wander most, the mind begins to wander lost. Eventually, madness does evoke in a form of indistinguishable from drunkenness. The pauper loses himself. A shadow darker than any I had seen on Kim's face crept beneath the shade of his eyes. No, I had seen that look once, in the past. Though it would be more accurate to say that I had heard it in his voice, that echoed in his fathoms, distorted by guilt and regret. Perhaps I shouldn't be surprised by the fact that this distortion has, among the countless people here, taken a particular interest in bamboo-headed Kim. Wait, I think it was just the angle Ryoshu Toliev? Ryoshu wasn't present in this. I don't think she really came up, but... Photograph, canned experience, and scraps. Like inserting a final piece of the puzzle, the space before us momentarily warped and flashed, opening a pathway to the distortion's fathoms. Well then, we'll be right behind you, Executive Manager. Then it was another. Are you talking about eyeing Du? Perhaps? Yeah, okay. I mean, that's just the length of a relatively normal Uchigatana, from what I know. Although, no, it's a more straight sword now that I'm looking about it. It's not Japanese style. I mean, still, it's just a long sword. I wouldn't call it, like, you know, super big. If anything, Faust has a bigger weapon. Yeah, this is it, huh? Neat stuff. But, before she could finish, Ezra had to redirect her focus from our discussion back to the battle. Most of the sinners were caught in the same predicament. Some managed to disengage from the battle and prepare to enter the Dungeon of Fathoms, but Honglu, Gregor, and several others were still busy holding off the NCOP employees. They're gonna follow us right in there if we run now, right? Like, in comparison with the size of the other girl, she looks tiny. Yeah, because there are, like, you know, people grow to different heights. Compare two men in front of you right now. You see how one of them is smaller than the other. And as far as I know, Ezra, the big girl, as you say, she's like one of the biggest girls in the entire game, size-wise. Probably. Even those who are unchained to Dante like we are can travel through the pathway once it's open, so... Yeah, let's not drive ourselves into an even narrower corner. I'll keep him at bay. Hearing that, bamboo-headed Kim stepped up. My sword arm's not what it once was, but it should be enough for this. Besides, I have a little wish to set foot in some ill-omened place and be tangled in such a bizarre mess. Is that really what he thinks? There was something in his eyes that led me to believe this was more about than just staying behind to protect our rear. He was... What the fuck? Huh? What a terrible front. No, it was a bit of a different abbreviation, I guess. At least try to pretend to be sincere and make it easy for us to believe you. Did you think that terrible excuse was going to fly? What are you trying to avoid, Swordswinger? You're not some kid trying to get out of out of doing his homework. I remember hearing that entering a dungeon of fathoms will bring one to the spiritual fathoms of the distortion it's gazing into. Then what lies within must be my very own, for that is what the abomination is gazing into. It is decided then, you're coming with us. We ain't about to walk in blind to a place we know shite about, mate. Got us in there, yeah? Oh, that's... He keeps it simple, you try that too. Learn the hard way that homework, like summer reading, doesn't go away just because you don't look at it. It's still there, even as the summer break comes to an end, ruining the last day of your vacation into an all-nighter. Harayashiki's scabbard vibrated cheerfully in agreement. Stop procrastinating. Go do your summer reading. What was it you said? Face the homework, save the GP. Fuck off. Okay, fuck off. For your show, okay? You can't be fucking serious. Not this joke. Of all the people. Oh. Oh. I can't. This is not the joke I expected ever to hear in this fucking... Interesting. Face the scene, save the ego. It is, after all, the attitude of the company expects of all its employees. Go, Junior. You guys too, LCB. I can handle them all on my own. You will make a lone stand. Hey, who the heck do you think I am? I'll show you why Team Leader Moses felt safe sending me out alone with you guys. This was basically a Monster of the Week situation for Team Leader and me back in our duo days. I can handle them on my own, no problemo. I wanted to see how you guys handle the inflection point, but I guess you can never really have it all. Oh well. Yes, I'll just have to trust our two OSIR team newbies to handle that. She can handle me too if she wants. Oh, trust me, there's plenty of art of her as well. You can assume that if a female is making an appearance in Limbus, there is art of her. A lot of art of her. Hell, I think I posted some art of her in my Discord. A lot of smut. Good shit. I need to go on another deep dive into Limbus Rule 34. Now that I think about it, I think I'm setting a pretty solid example as your team senior, aren't I? I don't like this, but it seems that I have no choice in the matter as long as this employee card hangs from my chest. With a sigh, Kim shook his head and joined us, dragging his feet all the while. I shall take the vanguard. Ah, Mentor. Be warned that the entrance is floating. Take a step, tall step over, or you may trip. I can clearly see that Angdu. Bring me a ladder if you're really that worried, why don't you? Have you need of one? A mere jest, you needn't worry.
이번에도 잘해줬어. 유익한 책이 또 하나.
Okay, was it an EX clear? Was it just clear a fight, or did I fuck up?
것들이 많아. 이렇게 하나씩 알아가다 보면 오늘 부끄럽지 않았습니다.
Okay, it was an EX clear.
이를 바로 세우는 데를 준비했으니
Was it just clear fight? Yeah, clear state, nice.
떳떳이 살아갈 수 있겠군요.
Someone's fathoms. Let's go. Suppress the dungeon boss. Okay, let's see. What do I want to bring? Is there anyone I can bring? Okay, there is a lot of story there. Yeah, I mean, this is a most recent, like, story drop. Do I uptie you? Should I uptie you? You would get much better. Oh yeah, you mean story is in Rule 34. Okay, I got you. Yeah, good stuff. Hmm? I'll respond to that later. Baloo. I really should up to it. No, genuinely, the dialogue is nicely written. Oh, this game's story, I'm not kidding. This is probably one of the best stories I've had in a game in general in the past fucking 10 years, at the very least. Like, the entirety of Project Moon stuff, I'd say, is in my probably top 5 of all the game stories I've played. And like, my favorites, I'd say probably Final Fantasy series, Kingdom Hearts series, Metal Gear Solid series, and now Project Moon stuff. Like, I would need to think a little bit extra for like the story stuff for the other ones, but damn. What happens if I uptie your ass? Your clashes get better, by the looks of it. Wait, she gets attack weight? Oh. This might be worth it. But Ishmael is one of the characters I need the shots for, potentially. Fuck. The game hates me. Okay, you know what? Fine, just enter. If that's how everyone's been living, and my life, my photographs too. So this is Escope too, right? It is reminiscent of my homeland, but the sights are much too hideous compared to what rests in my memories. Hideous was apt. When we emerged from the entrance of the dungeon into Escope's secrets, what... streets, not secrets, fuck. Streets. What greeted us was a distorted and eerie scenery. I wouldn't be surprised to find in an Escope-themed haunted mansion. 'Tis a place hardly fit for a human habitation, far more dilapidated than one expected. Thou sayest that people inhabit these lands for truth? Dawn, you could... Girl, please. Speak normally, for once. I like you, but... bruh. Really? I think it has a cool vibe. Vibe's my foot? I don't think I'd be able to get a wink of sleep in here. The lives of the downtrodden were beset by 1,000 woes and tenfold more struggles, and the streets they inhabit reflect that reality. Many times had I contemplated in consternation. I hate this writing sometimes. They just go into the deepest annals of the fucking dictionary and pull out the most painful words. Many times I had contemplated in consternation how the folk here had even the will to live on. A shadow had begun to haunt Kim's face still lingered there as he looked around. If the distortion reveals the fathoms of those it gazes into, as Kim had said, perhaps this is how Escope is reflecting in Kim's eyes. On the days when the skies were spotless blue, and without orders from the counselor, I would scale to the roof of that choga and feel a rustle beneath my back as I lay upon it. I thought it to be a respite solely mine, yet in this mirrored world, another has walked here before my arrival. I join him in looking up at the thatched roof of the choga. Beneath it, a wicked tunnel have I passed, and I will witness myself before the one who shall strike the head from my torso. There was a figure standing tall next to the building, staring defiantly up toward the man on the straw roof. Im Gyong Yo. Are you home? Are you home, I asked. What a strange visitor I have. Why not call at the front gate if you've come seeking the master of the house? Be not like a dog barking up the wrong tree. It's unbecoming. A dog? Really now? I can see you up there, lounging on the roof. I'm not going to speak to the door like I'm blind. Has a spell of some sort of befallen the day? To have such an odd occurrence transpire twice successive. The work of a bewitching spirit, I'd say. What's so bewitching about checking in on someone? Isn't it odd that a high-end, noble military commissioner of our esteemed corporation would come in person to simply check in on how a lowly mercenary fares? You know me? She certainly knows her jests. She marches forth, vested in war-strider armor, yet expects no violence. She wields a two-handed great blade like a demonic yaksha, yet harbors no hostile intent. Why, who else might she be but Military Commissioner Guyong Iop, the principal of the famed Im family? You are certainly in the habit of speaking in hyperbole. Hyperbole? I'm not so noble that I deserve to be complimented with an epithet so grand as principled. Tomboy GF. Ah, not a compliment. You see, Commissioner, this is a rhetorical technique known as a backhanded compliment, in which I damn you with praise, for you are so bound by your precious principles that you would rather be unreasonable than betray them. Does an officer ranked second ordnance have no wit to engage in such banter? Why, am I out of line, as they say? You two are friends, right? This was our first meeting, so no, not at that precise moment. I know I'm just saying that if I were her, I would never let myself become friends with you after such a bad first impression. Can't imagine becoming friends with someone who keeps pushing my buttons. Maybe. But people do find friendship in such personalities if they have a taste for prickliness. You've got a friend in all of us, don't you? Fine, you have a point. I guess I do have a habit of pushing people's buttons too. But still, I hope you're not seriously comparing the way I talk to this sassy, gotcha-digging, pun-riddled... Well, the world we live in is a vast and diverse one. Consider yourself lucky that you're surrounded by so many quirky characters. It is because of that same luck that she took the joke well, rather than respond by trying to cut off my head. You are out of line, yes, but I knew you would be, so I won't take issue with it. Though I must admit, the rumors of your sharp tongue do you no justice. The streets speak of a man they call Kim Lib, a man who once had intended to pursue the path of the brush, only to realize the sins of his forefathers and exiled himself to the backstreets. Yet with the sheer power of will, gritted teeth and scarred heart, did he find the path of a sword another way into the nest. As the right state councillor swore on God at that. Yeah, that's you, isn't it? All those superlatives? Yet the reality is that I merely found the path of man-butchery as a viable way of life. Direct any compliments you have toward the right state councillor, if you will. I'm but a butchering blade that happened to fall into the right hands. Not a compliment, just a word on the street. You're a quick learner. And spare me the fancy reading of my name. Watching you pretend that pompous posturing comes naturally is painful enough already. Keep it simple and spell it out as bamboo-headed Kim, thank you. And does he continue to veer away from the line? I'd rather be a corpse cold and dead than stay in line. Have a shred of mercy on me, almighty one. If I had come all the way here just to punish you for every little misdeed and ill manners, I would have laid you out and split you in two. 3 ways, before this riveting dialogue brought us this far. So feel free to continue traipsing outside the line. What the fuck is that word? Traipsing? Traipsing? Fuck off. Outside the line. But in return, would you answer a few of my questions? I've been watching you from a distance for a while now, and really, stalking someone's not very principled of you. You sure she didn't give you a good wallop after that? No, truly a mystery, isn't it? Besides, she did give me a free rein to continue traipsing outside the line. I couldn't in good conscience turn down such offers of kindness. Not that I ever do. You sure have a way with words. A way of finding your way under the listener's skin, huh? Perhaps yet are such japes not to be expected among fellowships of close mutual bond? They don't look like friends yet, though. So care to tell us why she's been watching you? Ah, I was engaged in the age-old pastime of throwing rocks. Now, you speak of the game of Subjong. Save them for the festivities of Dana. I was throwing rocks at the passerbys. Okay, then. Are you perhaps talking about this very intellectual game? No, I was just throwing rocks at people. Fucking hell, Kim. Field me! That is a wrong deed, good sir. I suppose it is. People of Pio and Sal in particular found it to be distasteful. My favorite pastime. Throw rocks at people. For your next video, can you please showing yourself killing someone with a rock? Yes. People of Peo and Sal in particular found it to be distasteful, and they did not let their discontent be hidden. But the P and the downtrodden cheered me on to a degree. They found it cathartic. Oh, curious. Then is it a right deed, or a deed not right? Pure? Sal? Whatever is that you're describing? It is a well-known truth that S-Corp is also known by its other name. Salpipeo Agro Industries. A wing specializing in the general agriculture and livestock industry of the city. The vastness and depth of its responsibilities have necessitated such divisions of labor. These words fuck with my brain. You know, I can read them perfectly fine at first, but the more I have to read new words, the less my brain is comprehending how to read them. Thus, District 19 is split into 3 court circles responsible for different aspects of the industry: Sal, P, and Pio. Fuck. Each meaning flesh, blood, and bone respectively. Sal, responsible for the cultivation of rice and other grains. You've been reading for 2 hours, this is a lot of work, don't worry. I would like to be able to read in a coherent manner. At the end of the day, a big portion of the entire stream, the entire entertainment, at least as of right now, is me reading shit out to you. I'd like you to have a good experience with my voice, you know? Make you understand what the fuck I'm reading. Make it clear, make it sound nice. I'd try a little bit more voice acting, but I'm just like not really feeling into it. Outside of Heathcliff, I try to put on a British accent whenever he comes up, but that's it. Usually I do try to put on more of a show, but not feeling right now. It's fine, I already knew you're not good with words. Says you, Pale. But hey. Pio, responsible for meat and livestock. Good point. I think that might be reading more slowly to give time to process the words first. True, I could read slowly. What do you mean I speak perfect English? English, yes. There you go, you corrected me. Correct. Yep, you got it. Reading slowly is a good way to go about it, but at the same time, if you read everything slowly, it kind of defeats the purpose. You see, one of the good ways to differentiate characters and their manner of speaking, whenever you are reading something or narrating something, is trying to change the pace of their speech, the pauses, and overall demeanor of their speech. For example, characters such as Yi-Sang, Faust, Aengdu, they are like mostly intellectual. They are smart people. So they would they would speak relatively fast in a very precise, concise manner. Right? It is fine for a more uncouth character to be a little bit more, how do I put it? To take more pauses or speak in bursts, so to speak. But a character who is well written, well spoken, the character would continuously flow the words one after another, regardless of the difficulty of the words said. And P, in change for the technological aspects of both. Charge. As a scientist and a researcher who once toiled at ESCOP, you must have felt the persecution the P faced firsthand. It is believed that the Trinity was designed for balance, that they would provide assistance when requested and keep one another in check when needed. It was once a promise of cultivating a fair and sustainable ESCOP. Alas, the noble intentions of yesteryear now lie sullied. The Trinity now degraded to 3 quarreling bands of profiteers blinded by avarice, relying not on honor, but betrayal and perfidy to... Perfidy? Is that a word? To claim the top of the triangle. An adherent of the flesh claims the position of the chief state councillor and monopolizes rights as the common folk starve. An adherent of the bone wants a right state councillor toadies to solve and rises to the seat of the left state councillor. And such shameless conspiracy permits not the common folk to even till the land as they please. Anguished cries of suffering flood the streets. Thus the common folk are reduced to livestock bleeding out, hanging from hook while bone and flesh collude like that of the emaciated dead. Who shall claim the severance of flesh and bone and force them to both to yield? Ah, okay, so this is the whole story of why his skill is yield my flesh to claim their bones. Okay. An oft-heard poem when walking the streets of Esco. Ho ho ho. Then the people whom thou have targeted with thy rocks were... They weren't people. Rats. Rats? Oh yes, the councillor finds rats detestable. Much better to stop them from a distance if you want to crush them. By any chance, do these rats have a habit of sneaking into royal court for better pilfer what the common folk rightfully deserve? They certainly suffer from a severe case of kleptomania. So you purposefully threw a rock at his feet to trip him to the ground, knowing that he was a kleptocrat? Kleptocrat. What? Why did you... You know what? It's fine. Well, I simply could not help but react as such in the presence of scurrying rats. Is there aught you find funny? Speak if you do. I could use a good laugh right about now. Just heartily expressing my gratitude, and that is all. Those whose corruption is revealed ought to readily receive the scarlet aura bonds, the gall to scamper away when they're with their expensive prosthetics. My men were having some trouble apprehending them, until now. This was very fun. I gotta work tomorrow. Have a good night. Oh, thank you. Thanks for dropping by, Rumples. Enjoy your sleep, night, whatever you're doing. Well, if that is your intent, you are invited to leave a token of gratitude somewhere in the vicinity. Perhaps I'll happen to pick it up. Wouldn't want to get thrown in the dungeons teeming with real vermin. Oh, I was going to do just that. So when you'll stop being a sword and be human again? What? When do you clock out? The way I see it, you're not the kind of person who'll ever get a drop of liquor get to his tongue while on duty for the right state councillor. Tomboy GF! Tomboy GF! Return to this chogo when you're human again. I'll buy you a drink as thanks. Ha! She's a funny one, Mentor. Then this fellow you had often mentioned fondly was... correct? Haven't I mentioned her a few times as a drinking fellow I had left behind in Esco? I must say, I myself found this relationship most intriguing, that a military commissioner of the Sal faction would fraternize with the bodyguard of the Right State Councillor, who was of the P faction. Still, I knew not that the fellow was none other than the military commissioner of Escorp. Engdu's eyes had gone wide in shock, her voice rising unconsciously. It is news to me that you have had ties to a second ordnance officer, official, military officer with command over high-ranking employees of the wing at that. Well, I was in the service of the Right State Councillor, who was a first ordnance, you know. Well, that might be true, yet you would like to know why I, with such a powerful friend by my side, have ended up in exile from Esco. Yes, your silence over matters of such great import is why I have come to introduce you to others as the reticent one, Mentor. We had made the Blade lineage our home, for Escope availed no home for us but the lineage. But you, Mentor, I would rather show than tell. Let us proceed, shall we? This enchanted place seems intent on unearthing all of my past, both savory and unsavory. All shall be revealed in due time. Kim looked around, a twinge of loneliness in his eyes, before moving on. We followed without a word. But she's so cute, I love her. She's adorable. Oh my god, this is so long. Ah. Okay, I gotta check something here. Something very important. What was it? Monastic experience. Oh, I don't think there is anything actually interesting about this. Okay. We emerged into a dark and muggy cavern, filled with air so stale it almost felt stifling. Up ahead, a thin ray of light shone through the darkness, seemingly guiding our path. Following the light led us to a four-way fork in the road. A constant, powerful gust howled through one of the paths. An air was filled with a metallic tang of smell of blood. Then there was a path that was entirely silent, and the last one echoed with the harsh noise of sword striking against sword. Oh, where do I want to go? No, not that. What about that? I'll just go with the clashing swords, I guess. Just how many people are fighting up there? Must proceed with caution, Executive Manager. There may be a battle underway. The sinners all look disconcerted at the strident noise of metal against metal. It was an unmistakable sound of battle. We stood ready in troubled silence as the sounds of war only grew louder and louder until they came to a sudden, silent stop. A pedestal made of stacked stones appeared before us, though none of us knew how long it had been there. Atop it was a red accessory, the kind one would hang at the bottom of the hilt. Okay.
전장으로.
Oh, what do we got?
정보팀에서 준 자료와는 차이가 있지만
Resentful Blade Lineage Salsa.
괜찮을 거예요, 관리자님.
시간 끌 것 없이
12수에게 명한다.
모조리 숨통 끊기.
누구 하나 살려보내지 마라.
매뉴얼을 만들어두길 잘했네.
Okay, yes, win. Nice.
이 거리는 충분해. 너한텐 조금 멀겠지만.
그래, 그렇게 가라앉지 않을
Neutral.
거야. 오늘은 쓸데없이 말을 내릴 필요
Yeah, let's
없어.
go with that. That should be good.
흑승류, 뛴다.
And the best part is that in this, I don't have to worry about... what's the word?
발짝조차 잘려나갈 올고도
SP? Since after this fight, pretty much every other fight is gonna start with full SP, I think. Since there are no resets.
입에 발린 말투와 실패하지 않아 개체의 유효한 속성을 정확하게 간파했습니다. 제 예상만큼 관리자님의 능력이 우수하다는 것이 증명되는 것 같아 다행이군요.
How the hell do you have that much poise? I'm just gonna do that. Start early with it.
확 물어버리자고. 잠깐만 기다려. 직원 중 하나가 큰 피해를 입었군요. 그러나
이
아시다시피
몸을 온당히
우리는
바라시며
앞으로 나아가기만 할 뿐 돌이킬 수 없어진 것은 눈길을 주지 않아도
죄를
된답니다.
These bastards are really destroying my ass. My entire team is goddamn squashed.
놀라 재밌네. 난 너희가
Oh my
좀더
God.
어설프다고 생각했거든.
Yes, you must retreat.
불가 미야. 마감이
That's about as good as I can get it.
아득한 여정.
Okay, come on, you got it.
희망과 미래를 찾아. 방금 공격. 다음에 다른 개체에게도 다시 해봐줄래? 영상으로 남기면 다른 직원에게도
Nice.
몰라. 이제 깨우치시게.
He's actually helping.
끝내지.
방금은 좀 쩔었는데.
무타법을 이제야 좀 이해.
Good job. You're actually doing shit.
아, 재밌었다. 자, 오늘 할 거 다 끝난 거 맞지? 그럼 약속대로 이 만화책이랑 해결사 잡지 가져간다.
Great. Everyone is almost dead. You got this, Roger.
더 잘한다고.
Shonen gain 2 haste next turn. When an identity speed is faster than the enemy's, deal 3. Oh, that's good. That's for Faust.
필드, 출진.
I am going to need to heal.
얌전히 잠들어 있어야 할 놈들까지 눈을 떠버렸나?
흑수묘, 뒷박질 춤.
Yep. Attack her ass. You got this.
시대에서 희망과 미래를 찾아 스스로
이 거리는 충분해. 너한텐 알겠지만
She actually critted on it. Damn. There you go. Stack that ass.
마음 둘 안. 아비들도 매번 이런 식이야. 지금 내 기억은
집이 숨긴다. 이 앞에 숨쉬는 자.
For some reason the first fight was just going awfully, but this one is easy.
몰랐어?
도끼를
이곳이 수에서 무파법을 이제야
조여내라.
좀
묘야. 길을 열어라.
절묘한 하나병.
Nice, we're actually deleting these guys.
괜찮은 공격이네요. 앞으로도 그렇게만 해주세요.
Well, these guys are gonna be a bit more problematic, I suppose.
흑수묘, 뒷박질 춤. 무상한 목숨. 불끝 지원은 효율적인 대처로 개체를 꿰뚫었습니다.
뭐
참고로 기계는 입에 발린 말 따위 쉽게
How
하지 않고
dare you?
방금 좀 쩔었는데.
가치 없군. 죽어.
앞에서 깝칠 때부터 쳐맞을 줄 알았지. 좀 사려봐.
How painful is this one to get back? I would need a lot of lust. I don't have lust. Gloom and Poise is fine.
일기당천. 하나 넘고 둘 넘고. 꺾고 제쳐라.
매뉴얼을 만들어두길 잘했네.
Nice, that asshat has been staggered. We're doing fine.
이제 깨우치시게. 우와,
That's what you get.
삼촌들이랑 공원에 같았어.
모든 걸 걷어들일 순 없었어.
된것 같아.
여기서 멈춰.
빠르게 무너지는 건
계속 싸울 수 있으니까.
How dare he attack my wife?
자, 오늘 할
Delete
건
these salsus.
약속대로 이 만화책이랑 해결사 잡지 가져간다.
You got this.
아는 것을 모른 채 할 수는 없어.
Crushed wooden manacle. A great, an elite fight. Not that I get much of a choice, but it is what it is. No, it can't be. My life is. The experiences, the memories I had recorded are different. Alas. Kim came to a stop with a grim look on his face. Again, I am returned to this day. His voice had dropped to the same morose pitch I had heard before. Mentor, I've been here before. Ah, have you? Had a peek into my memories when I had distorted, did you? I must say, it's a bit embarrassing to have my deepest, darkest secrets revealed like that. Kim grinned sheepishly as though to clear the air, but it was become rather clear to me that what he was doing. That his flippant demeanor and seemingly devil-may-care attitude were but a mask to hide the true darkness in his heart. Then this must be, indeed, the right state councilor's estate. Someone whom I had once protected, thought was worth protecting. Kim pushed open the main gates and made his way into the front yard. Watch out, Engdu. Take a tall step over or you might trip. There were bodies splayed about the yard. I couldn't dare start counting them. I felt faint watching the aftermath of the carnage. Some were decapitated, some had their torsos split diagonally, and some of them were so mangled that I could hardly even tell which parts belonged to who. Are they not retainers of the royal court? What were they doing at the council's? No, were they killed by assassins? Assassins did infiltrate the estate, yes. You're looking at what remains of them. Though I had but a moment to glimpse it, I clearly remembered what the Escope logo I saw in Kim's Fathoms looks like. The hats on these corpses were wearing are adorned with the same logo. So why is Bamboo Hatted Kim calling them assassins? In this corrupt land, the right state councilor's life was always as precarious as a candlelight in a tempest. Such is the fate of all those who have guts to speak the truth in Escope, where positions of influence are hoarded by corrupt sycophants whose chokehold on power is ironclad. The most prominent among them, the left state councilor, with the chief state councilor's blessing, sought to wield his own private army to silence forever the tongues of those who would advocate against the corrupt. Private army? But they are prohibited in our homeland. So they're kinda like how the great houses of H-Corp each had their own armies. That is similar to what is happening, but not exactly. If S-Corp's circumstances were to be explained in plainer terms, it would be akin to a situation in which a company, whose employees outwardly appear to all be working for the same side, is in fact fractured within, with certain departments pledging allegiance to a different individual than the chief executive. What assassins there had been in the past at least wore masks to hide their allegiance. I had thought this no different, though, with assassins significantly less invested in maintaining their disguises. Not realizing that I had just placed my stone inside the tiger's maw. Looking around at the yard teeming with the assassins, I recall thinking it odd just how many of them they had sent. Though the left state councilor's power had grown to loom over that of the king, I should have realized how ridiculous such a brazen attempt on the life of one of the triumvirate councilors at the royal court would have been. Foolish. Can't. I have failed you, counselor. There were simply too many of them, as though they had decided that tonight was the night they would finally slay the counselor, or die trying. I was soon overwhelmed, and some of them eventually managed to get around me and reached the counselor's bedchamber. The moment I heard them reach the door, all strength left me, and I fell to my knees. Hi, Kim Lib. I'm a poor excuse of a bodyguard, and I have failed you. And I knew who the author of the foul scheme was, the left state councillor. Let this be my final act of loyalty ere I depart this life. Though I am too meager a person to carry on your will, councillor, what I can do is plant the seeds of terror in the hearts of the unjust, if only to shackle their blackest hearts from committing greater misdeeds. I shall go before the villain who contrived this betrayal, and see that the fervor is repaid with steel. Only by such vengeance shall the councillor at last close his eyes in his grave. Or so I had thought. What? Greetings, honored bodyguard of the right councillor. I see that you've been hard at work. Accursed parasite. I had to flay you alive and reveal the wretched soul underneath. Some gall you have to show your face here. Oh, here. You mean the home of the Honorable Right State Councillor who toils day and night in service of the royal court? I know the assassins were sent by the left state councillor. Get out of my way. I shall collect your head once my task here is over. Alas, alas! This unsightly display of anger shames us all. Are all those who live by the sword as uncouth as you? The cruelty of your damning words is an impression upon decent men like myself. Let's see how long you can... Heed me, soldiers! Arrest that mad butcher! What? The accursed shall heed his crimes. 1 moon ago, an anonymous letter threatening to take the life of this revered right state councillor arrived at the royal court. This audacious, contumelious effrontery is an affront not only to the royal court, but to the heavens and men alike. The revered left state councillor, who had long been in disagreement with the right state council on matters of the state, found this offense to be so heinous that he has personally commanded his men to protect his political enemy on the day writ of on the letter. Huh? Yet a tragedy has struck. All those lives sent to protect the noble councillor are slain, the bravery and justice of their honorable hearts trampled upon the ground by this villain. And now the villain promises death to yet another pillar of the royal court? Thus, we are perforce to arrest the criminal and restore the rule of law. You spout senseless drivel. I saw your men make their way into the council's bedchamber with their blades drawn. The councillor? Might you be looking for the right state councillor here, alive and well? My lord? The vile wretch leaned down next to my ear and whispered, "Perhaps you should have known where not to stick your nose. Did you really think you could overcome the entire private army in the left state's countless service? He sent so many of his men to their deaths just to lure me into a trap. Why? Now, don't take this as a compliment, as you are not even the apex blade of the homeland, nor are you the Ungyon. But you have been a rather egregious obstacle to the execution of my plans. Couldn't get through with the first thing in my plan, with you constantly getting in my way. Let's keep you nicely locked up out of trouble. This can't be. For what it's worth, young man, I am sorry. I've come to realize the error of my ways. The truth is, though Escope is indeed a pond of turbid water, it was those like us who had stirred the dirt from its bed and turned it cloudy. Fearing the worst, we arrived to protect the revered Right State Councillor. 1,000 curses upon the villain. In his quest for the Right State Councilor's life, the butcherous man has already watered the ground with Escope's laborers, the very lifeblood that runs the veins of this most serene wing. And the charcoal-hearted villain is none other than the Councillor's sworn god Kim Lib. Han. Heed us, O villain. Han, obey. And let the Orabons take you. You've fallen far, my friend. You who were once considered a candidate to the honor of Ungom, and without the brand of Nobi strapping your strength. Even your mastery with a blade will only dull. Are you to be my executioner, Gyeongyup? I hadn't received the orders to behead you, if that is what you're asking, nor would it befit someone of my station to sully my hands with an executioner's duty. How will you live on now? I don't know. The councillor has abandoned me. There is no path forward. Self-PO, Agri Industries is more corrupt than I had thought. Rotten to the core. This is where the game ends. Time to resign my stone. Indeed it is. Why are you freeing me? Once a game has been lost, you start anew and test other gambits in the next round. Why don't you stop playing this unfair game where the opponent always starts with stones placed on all 9 star points on the board, and find a place where you can begin anew in equal standing? As soon as they realize it was you who freed me, they'll come after you. It's okay. Unlike someone who made a fool of himself and fled after passing the royal examinations, I have the royal court's backing as its military commissioner. My position in the court isn't so fickle that they would cast me down right away just because I let go of someone like you. You're a branded criminal. In the eyes of the royal court, you're as good as inconsequential. I'll report that even if you were to flee, you would still be nothing more than a plaything in the palm of their hands. I didn't think you were the kind to go against your honorable principles. Some things can't be done without bending a rule or two, and you are needed. Escope's future is in need of those who are less bound by expectations, like yourself. Besides, it's not the rules I stand by, it's my own principles. I did say I owe you a token of gratitude, didn't I? Consider this a settlement of that. Gratitude and vengeance, after all, share a common quality. They are both debts to be repaid. Pyongyup, come with me. There is no hope left for Escope. You said it yourself, didn't you? We'll never win as long as we're playing their rigged game. Listen, they might have a 9-stone advantage over you, but to me, it's as small as 3. I'll manage and keep my finger on the pulse. Besides, change doesn't always have to come from the outside. The old wisdom says that to catch a tiger, you must enter its den. But wouldn't it help to have an ally waiting in a tiger's den to back you up when the time comes? There, all done. Your bonds are severed. Go now. Go and build your strength beyond the walls of Escope. Yet beware of relying overmuch on foreign powers. I don't have it in me to take up such a grand purpose. I'm done with Escope. You know how I am. I just go with the flow. Yes, do as you will, go with the flow, be whatever you want to be. But I'm just hoping that the currents of the river will someday bring you back to Escope, that's all. Though I had left the rigged game, my records afterward weren't stellar. The laying of the stone on my board was always full of holes and mistakes. I joined the Blade lineage, became their mentor, and dragged them into the library. Until eventually I cut down those who had placed their faith in me. Self-defeating move after self-defeating move. When Gum-Yup had let me go, I thought I had escaped the tiger's maw. But as I let the game progress with the flow, I soon came to the realization that my life was an endless sequence of connect and dies. I was in a losing play from the start. Shadows dancing by the distant humanoid form begin to grow like wildfire. And those in the entire of the Blade lineage, one by one, leap over the wall and approach us. Like the projections of Kim's darkening fathoms. They're from his memories. Films and photographs can sometimes remain undoctored, but the impressions a person gets from viewing the photograph is malleable. Then they must be after, Kim believes that if the Blade lineage were to come back to life, they would want to kill him.
하지만 그래봤자
Okay, I'll hit you all with that.
시간 끌 것 없이
시비수에게 명하다.
모조리
이 안에 숨쉬는 자 누구 하나 살려보지 마라.
승리를 위해서라면
So far the clashes are fine, but damn, it's gonna be a pain in the ass soon enough, I feel it.
공격. 다음에 다른 개체에게도 다시 해봐줄래? 영상으로 남기면
Okay, I don't have healing as of yet, so I just gotta keep fighting normally.
고작 이 정도 탕류의 허덕이야. 넌 푸름을 틔울 수
재밌네.
없겠구나.
난 너희가 좀 더 어설플 거라고 생각했거든. 숨통 끊기.
제압 개체에게 큰 피해를 준 것 같아. 이 팀의 직원다운 완벽한 공격이었어.
This is going better than the previous fights. These guys don't have negative coins. At the very least.
의도는 모르겠지만 이걸로 공평해졌네. 시간 끌 것 없이 모조리 지워버리죠.
Is this it? That was the whole fight? The previous ones were so much worse.
있는 힘껏 찔러놓고 으깨놨지만
Guess that was that.
언젠가 다시 재생하겠지. 내가 부서지고 파괴되어도 다시 교체되는 것처럼.
Someone carrying a sword on his belt and a sack on his shoulder leaped into a haystack near us.
나만의
A
지위.
few moments later, a small squad of Chonkuns, torches in hand, rushed in from the same direction the man had come from. We saw a criminal who has coveted the kingdom's properties flee in this direction. Speak up if you have seen the wretch. The Chonkuns began walking up to the civilians and questioning them about the criminal's whereabouts. Despite all having seen the man jump into the haystack, all of them shake their heads and refuse to give up the criminal. Are they hiding him for some reason? Soon, the Chonkuns, having made their way through the crowd, approached us as well. What should we do? Point them to the wrong direction. So he won that way, huh? Appreciate the assistance. Once the group of Chunkuns hurried toward the direction I pointed them towards, the man crawled out of the haystack. Seeing that the Chunkuns had gone, some of the civilians walked up to the man and gave their thanks. Good work you! Can't have those vile Chunkun take a noble thief like you away, a thief of the people. They're all wretches, I say, wretches. So well fed while we're all starved. I bet they'll bleed rice if we got 'em. He returned their gratitude with a polite bow and approached us. You have my thanks. I did not expect to be shielded by outsiders such as yourselves. But this is a welcome supply. The peak, can I peak? Fucking... Who am I, you ask? Well, I have no name to give you, but it seems that I'm the common folk have taken to calling the like-minded Blade lineage. I'm only stealing the sacks of rice the corrupt officials have stolen, and returning them to where they belong, just as Mentor Bamboo-headed Kim had once done. Kim squeaked out a small embarrassed cough. I've lingered here too long. They're already on my trail again. It is about time I saw myself out. Even in a hurry, he bade us to wait a moment as he rummaged through his sack and produced a few packages of food. Take these. It's not much, but it should be quite filling for those on the road like yourselves. Gratitude and vengeance, after all, share a common quality. They are both debts to be repaid, eh? With that, he withdrew into the shadows. All allies healed for 50% of their max HP. SP to full. Hey, yo, that's actually big.
물건 꺼내는 것보다 쉽죠.
이 경로는 숨어들기 나쁘지 않아.
Okay, let's see what we got. More talking, more yapping. No, more fighting.
치사하게 자기 혼자 사기 버프 둘둘 감고. 너흰 저런 거 없어?
시비수에게
어쩔 수 없게 하지. 이 거리는 충분해. 너한테 멀겠지.
Ah, come on. Why didn't you roll the low percentage chance to crit?
절묘한 하나비요.
수들을 도려내라. 묘여.
이제 진수에서
I'm not looking forward to the boss fight though. The boss fight is gonna suck.
기우팀의 직원다운 완벽한 공격이었어.
But not much I can do about it. I gotta do it at least once. I want to finish the intervallo today so that next time I can actually do the
이것 봐.
refract trial. I think it's called.
충분하잖아.
대상은 없음. 불끈한 지원을
엄마는 무기라면 뭐든 잘 다뤘어. 그중 제일 뛰어난 게 검이었고. 우와, 지금 완전 삼천대리랑 공모대 같았어.
이제야 실력을 좀 내시네요. 평소에도 이러면
넌
얼마나
흠을 틔울 수도 없겠구나.
의도는 모르겠지만
This fight is so easy. What the heck?
방금 공격.
이번에도
다음에
잘해줬어.
다른 개체에게도 다시 해봐줄래?
유익한 책이 또 하나
영상으로
늘었네.
남기면 다른 직원에게도 도움이
도시에는
될지도
내가
몰라.
모르는 것들이 많아. 이렇게 하나씩 알아가다 보면 언젠간 반드시
Okay.
찾을 수 있겠지.
Here comes the boss fight. I hope that it's not gonna be a big pain in the ass, but I know it will. Okay.
이런 임무는 뱀 중에서도 내가 제일이지.
Like a prey backed against the cliff's edge, I am left bereft of paths. My hand hesitates with no room to place the stone. Misjudgments, burgeoned contemplations harrow the mind indeed. Now all that remains is to neutralize that one enemy combatant in the yard. Tell me, who's waiting for us in there? You should know. This place and its enemies are projections of your memories. Not the hardest guess to make, is it? I expect to find Im Guong Yap in there. Guong Yap was a woman of loyalty and principles. Even as a military commissioner, she never stopped wanting to change the way the royal court was. But even she must have broken in the end. I scoured the newspapers and TV for anything I could find on the current state of Esco, but it was plain as day that nothing had changed there since my departure. Mentor, is that not but a baseless speculation your concerns grown uncontrollably? Never have you spoken to us about such a monstrous one in the past. Thus, what lies before you is but a figment of distortions reflecting upon your memories. Did this Im Guang Yap appear as that monster does, Mentor? No. Guang Yap wasn't like that. Guang Yap. I still believe that Salpipipio, Argo Industries, deserves to die. But destruction's not the point. The point is that I want it to be a place where I can cut away the avaricious corrupted and have it be a wing that cares for its common folk. If I didn't know better, I would have thought you were seeking to supplant the current Escop. You know, that's not what I'm talking about. I'm just a wanderer, floating down the river's flow to where the currents take him. When the river bent and hit a wall, someone picked me up and made a blade out of me. Once abandoned, I returned to the flow and found myself a mentor to those who afforded me the undeserved faith. And the river continues to wind, carrying me back to Escop, whence I had fled. Shall I let the blade sing my inner thoughts? You think I'm satisfied with the way Escop is? But your method, as it is now, goes against the principles. I expected better from someone of your wiles. If you enjoy those principles so much, then why ask me to leave the game? Because someone has to stay behind and try to bring change within the limits of their principles. I only hope that one of those bends in that river of yours would float you back to knock on the gates of Escop once it was primed for change. Has that changed? What do you think? You, at least, seem to have that I have. Because you believe that I shall stand in your path. abandon my path and stem the flow of this river evermore. Very well. The law states that denial of the will of the royal court is a crime deserving of death by beheading. I, Him Geong-yeop, second ordinant of the Salpipeo Argo Industries, official of the sword, and military commissioner to the royal court, shall uphold the command and sever the buds of rebellion before they propagate. In reality, she's probably the sweetest fucking girl.
진짜 도움이 되는 거
Oh my god, look at these skills.
나오시죠?
What in the fuck? Okay, what are you attacking? You're attacking that one, so who's attacking this? Dawn, you're gonna be attacking that instead. You are attacking that. So how about you attack... Inflict bleed. Hangdu's gonna eat a little bit of shit. But that is fine. Now let's hit you with that. That ought to be good.
목을 콱 물어버리자고.
목을 떨궈주마.
It's sinking, right? Yeah, sinking.
한눈 팔지 마세요. 메말은 당신에게 파도는 반드시 밀려올 테니.
The important part is that we're winning clashes. Even though Aengdu is probably gonna lose hers. But it's better to let Aengdu lose it than Mighty. And there we go. Perfect.
위험을 모르는 건 나쁘지 않습니다만 무식하게 돌격하실 거라면 참 빠지겠습니다.
Who is clashing this? Dawn. How about I hit you with this? Good enough. I want to start the passive of healing
멈추지 않는 시대.
early enough.
희망과 미래를 찾아. 스스로.
This fight is overall much easier than normal, because we have essentially 2 extra characters. But I think she adapts. Like, she gives you... The more characters you have, the more skill slots you got. Nice.
제압 개체의 상태가 나빠졌어요. 다행이에요. 개구라를 통해 토끼팀을 불러야 할지도 모르는.
Okay, the last one is the one that... yeah. Okay, Angdu. Okay, I'm gonna need... Altus, maybe? Altus is that favorited. Angdu is dominating, good. Bamboo-headed ass, who are you attacking? Oh, you're attacking our block. Okay. Hold on. Oh, that's much better. Speaking of, what is the passive on your ass? If an enemy or an ally is killed due to rupture or bleed damage, inflict lasso on a random enemy. Not that good for this. Flick 2 lasso. Yeah, it's only potency. Kind of ass. Turn attack at 10 started +3 attack, gain tarnished blood. Okay. Maybe some other turn I will do that. And you already have the increased clash now going. That's fine.
시비 숨게 명한다. 이 아프 숨지니까 누구 하나 살려보내지 마라.
You got this, everyone. You can defeat the Tomboy GF. Damn. She's just deleting her.
매뉴얼을 만들어두길
Angdu got an upgrade, definitely.
저 해충들을 도려내라.
무파커브 이슬종
길을 열어라.
There we go.
징계팀 직원이
Good damage going there.
다니긴 해.
비거리는 충분해. 너한테 정말겠지만. 귀하들의 전투에 낭보가 있기를 기원하네.
Okay, if I am to do this, I have to specifically let Angdu clash. Okay, who can put up a better clash here? I need to check. Altus or Honglu? I think I gotta go with Altus and get this going. Dominate. Yep, perfect. Let's go.
빈박질 중
승리를 위해 살아.
Don't hit me too hard. Okay. Did not get staggered at the very least. The fuck? How are you... How are you losing these clashes?
피해였네. 우선 검을
These were supposed to be dominating. Oh, she got her SP back. Somehow. Oh my god, are you for real? She just decided let's do the RNG the other way. This is such BS.
감정을 이제 어떡하지? 잠깐 시시한 말은 하지 마.
무작정 맞으려는 말은 아니었는데.
말 해야 할 일은 밭돌 뿐이지 않나?
Okay. How do I go about this? I have to clash this. If I don't clash this with at least something, I'm fucked. I have to clash with this, don't I? Yep. That's all I can really do and hope for. She just started getting all of her SP back. Like nobody's business.
숨통 끊기.
효율적인 대처로 개체를 꿰뚫었습니다. 참고로 기계는 입에 발린 말 따위 쉽게 하지 않아요.
Rodia, please. Tell me that this is enough damage. Crit with this shit.
그래도 언제나 추월할 수는 없습니다.
Oh no. Faust, why are you doing Ascendant? Oh, is it because of an unopposed attack?
엄마는 무기라면 뭐든 잘 다룰
Like everything was perfect, and then that bullshit happened.
그럼에도 이상이여. 내가 맞서. 내가 아시의 이상을 함께 줬던 호위 이상이여.
I'm gonna use that.
목을 콱 물어버리지.
Because honestly, it's probably my best bet at doing a lot of damage.
괜찮은 공격이네요. 앞으로도 그렇게만 해주세요.
You got this, Sushi.
메마른 당신에게 파도는 반드시 밀려올 테니.
300 damage, you got this. Nice.
걱정은 하지 않겠습니다. 어차피 이미 이길 거라고 확신하고 있으실 테니까.
The only real thing that I can do right now is just try to fight all of this. I mean, I could try and clash it, but I feel like it's just gonna be a waste of fucking time.
불가 위야. 마감제.
I doubt that I'll be able to do enough damage for this. I'm just hoping that I can finish this fight fast. Angdu is a bit fucked. Ow.
자, 테디. 나를 따라해 보는 거야. 짜잔.
18 damage, what the fuck? I healed some people up, at least. Okay. It's fine. It's not fine.
아마도 이런 날이었을 거야. 나보다 먼저 엄마가 집에 돌아오는 날. 학교 마치고 집에 돌아왔을 때 문 너머에서 엄마의 발소리가 들리며 그 울림에 신이 나곤 했지.
시간 끌 것 없이
Yield my flesh.
모조리 지워버리죠.
Bro, even in this circumstance, he couldn't do that right.
방금 공격
I'll just finish it, please.
다시 해봐줄래? 영상으로 남기면
Or I guess Yi-sang will have to.
몰라.
색색이 황홀하고 아예 기억 못하게 하려는 길이구려.
상담에서 알려준 대로 잘했어.
She's not as powerful as I recall, yet weighed down by the brand. I'm not so far ahead or behind. I don't know. I think you're doing pretty well. Verily, they appear evenly matched, yet he's wielding that sword like he's trying to get himself killed. And blade work is far beneath him. Seeking the end here, is he? Can you afford to look away in a duel? What are you doing? You'd rather lock your sword with mine than parry it away. Can have a proper sword fight without a blade lock, though, The duel between the mentor of Syndicate and military commissioner of Escope is neck to neck, clash after clash. The two warriors eventually lock their blades in a contest of might before it comes to a close in a final fatal bout. When the dust settles, the mentor lies in the sand, dead. If that is what you want, I'll grant it. Good, let's finish this. Just as Bamboo had it Kim and Im Gyeong up, readied for their final bout, Aengdu leaped in between them. Huh, Aengdu? Are you really so ashamed that you would choose death over life, Mentor? Are you so scared to live that you would rather die? Yes, I am. I'm scared. I'm terrified of my own audacity to live my days as though I hadn't failed everything and everyone who had the misfortune of placing their faith in me. My mission, my honor, my fellows, as though my path isn't haunted by ghosts, as though I can stand shamelessly before the watching eyes of the heavens. What have I even done with the life that was given to me? Blind to the realities of my homeland, I served a master who chose politics over loyalty and justice. I cut down my very fellows who chose to trust a fool like me. I walked my entire life as the flow carried me, and when I finally had the mind to look back, all I saw were blood-red traces everywhere I had gone. Isn't it about the time I admitted that this game cannot be won? That mental. The weakness in your strength has failed your mission. The weakness in your position has failed your honor. And the weakness in your heart had become the fiendish blade that cut down your fellows. Aengdu? I thought you were here to talk me into keeping on living, yet your words pain me so. What weakness of yours is it this time, that you would cast away your own creed and life? What other weakness will you use as an excuse today? Stop trying to bear responsibilities asked not of you. The Blade lineage was never about responsibility, nor was it about you, Mentor. Or does your overbearing guilt help you overestimate your importance? What was that saying again? Fellow travelers in the same boat will aid one another. Not a single soul demanded that of you. Talk about kicking a man when it's down. And I have had enough of that flippant locking of yours. We all have. Do you truly believe that not a single one of us had picked up on the fact that your levity was a means to relieving yourself of the burden you had cast upon your own shoulders? None of us ever demanded some impossible feat from you. What was it that you always said to describe yourself? That you are but a butchering blade that wields not itself, a tool wielded by willing hands. Why, Mentor, I know not what kind of shame or responsibilities a mere tool has, do you? Do you? Because I fail to see any. If the shame does not subside still, then shroud your face with that bamboo hat of yours and live on. Live on so that you may repay your debts. Out of blades, out of arrows. Even the heart that sought death lies defeated at your feet. There is no stone left for my next gambit. There is nothing more. Indeed, perhaps there was some merit in your words, that I must retreat from this silly game of stones and become a fiend of blades. Mentor, that's not what I said. Interesting. Whence did you hear that poem? Yes, when inverted, a bamboo hat is like an unladen ship. Angdu and Im Gyong-up were knocked away from bamboo-hatted Kim as though bounced off by an invisible force. Not again! Kim raises his gaze to meet the empty air as though someone was there, a hollow laughter escaping his lips. Oh. Oh no. Oh no. Oh no. My man is talking to someone. My man is about to effloresce. We know who he's talking to. It's the voice. But your last move was not a good one. Indeed, I did wish to become a blade. And what did you do? Forge me into an indiscriminate one that cleaves blindly into friend and foe both. It seems that in your excitement you have cornered yourself with that last move. Well, as it seems that I had had an opportunity to retrace our past moves, allow me to try something different this time. Be not so vexed by this round. As you say, we never know what the next game shall bring. I appreciate and will treasure the other bits of your advice. But let us play by my rules for tonight's game. Something's different this time, innit? Indistorted? I think that's an efflorescence, perhaps. Nothing is for certain, indeed. And I trust that the words of my last remaining follower have also reached your ears, I am but a tool wielded by willing hands. Nothing in my life has ever been certain. I know not whether this move is what cements my defeat, but I desire it to be a victorious stone nonetheless. Thank you. I will take what encouragement I can get. The strange invisible pressure dissipates, and the armored woman, Im Gyong-up, readjusts her grip on the sword. Kim turned around to look at her, and saw that a weighty shadow seemed to have been lifted from his face, replaced by a mix of relief and determination. A bit embarrassing to change my stance now, but now I fight to live. I suppose you will be okay with that? Of course. To hide from heaven's gaze, this hat I wore. An empty boat, it bore my friends along. In bamboo veiled, we drift from shore to shore. With wine, I don my hat to watch blooms throng. In mirth, I doff that shroud to moon adore. So with this bamboo hat to veil my brow. Though winds and rain may rage, I shall not throw. He to me, bamboo-hatted one, speak your name, for I find your outfit dubious of character. I am he who has mentioned the lineage of blades to its premature mentored the lineage of blades to its premature end. I am he who has sought to bring salvation to the downtrodden to no avail. What to call a man who has failed to disburden himself of the world? How to name a man who has failed to bear the weight of the world? There is none. So call me Bamboo-Hatted Kim. Bamboo-Hatted Kim, the treasonous wretch. Nice. Okay. I like the whole ego efflorescence thing. The photographs rapidly fold away from reality. Perhaps because Kim had successfully managed to face her own past. and the photographs and memories that were overlaid upon the fathoms are pulled away. What remains is a man in dirty, ragged clothing. The fathoms of Escope slowly lose grip on this world, and soon reveals the fathoms of the distortion that was hidden beneath it. I see residents of the back streets in their blissful highs from taking the canned experiences, and a man who's watching them with disapproval. Why is everyone running away from all this? A baker always surrounded by the smell of freshly baked bread. A florist who makes lovely bouquets for graduating youngsters. A photographer who captures beautiful sights to remember. They're our lives, our experiences. You wanna be a billionaire with an extravagant mansion in a nest? A legendary fixer who can make the syndicates cower in fear just by going on a stroll? What you get from those cans is not real. Is everything in your lives, all of this, just empty means to an end so that you can get high on fake purchased experiences, nailed into a can? Is that all your life is? Then my life, and the photographs I've taken are all... No, it can't be. My life, those experiences and memories I've photographed are different. You're all blindly consuming fake experience after experience without a care about the real thing. That is why you're all floundering, grasping at illusions. So let me show you the things I've shot. The memories, the experiences, the reality of your lives. It was only in passing, but I glimpsed an unmistakable grimace, a scowl on Marisol's face. I reflected upon the events of today and could at least begin to guess as to why that might be. Don't believe there's any experience in either the canned experience or that guy's photographs, do you, Marisol? Because experiences and memories aren't the same thing. What really distinguishes them, I wasn't sure. Correct, manager. What I knew was that the distinction was, for whatever reason, important to Marisol. District 14 resident. Huh? A figure materializes into a humanoid form, swirling out of projector. He must be the distortions, and next to him is another figure, stumbling out in a giant suit of armor. Blimey, that thing's still alive? It is but an overlay of fathoms created within a distorted space. The concept of life and death has little meaning to such a thing. Yet faint does she grow, and must be that distortion's power waning. Hark, accused one, for these are your crimes. The crime of fomenting chaos in a foreign wing while impersonating tycoons of Salpipeo's agro-industries. The crime of exploiting the suffering of Salpipeo agro-industries downtrodden as a mere veil for your own fathoms. And, though it be but a part of reenactment, impersonating a military commissioner of the kingdom without the royal decree. Pursuant to the law of the homeland, the accused is to be sentenced to death by beheading. And before we even had the chance to step in or anything, the faint mirage-like warrior brought down her sword on the docugrapher's neck, decapitating him. Oh, can an entity of the fathoms slay one outside it? Such an instance has heretofore never been observed, but as it is happening right now, right before our eyes, I can only say yes. Again, she only used I. She used I. She is not using Faust, she is using I. Yup is a woman of principle. She would have done the same to the bitter end had she truly been here. As the headless body of the inflection point crumples to the floor, Im Gyung-yup shape slowly faces out of reality. And we found ourselves back in the projection room. And there? No way! Don't tell me that headless corpse is... We found a large group of injured NCORP staff thrown pell-mell about the room, and Ezra, who was looking down at the headless body of the docugrapher. Yeah, sorry about that, Ezra. But yeah, that's the guy. That's the guy we got.
오늘 부끄럽지 않았습니다. 의를 바로 세우는 데 일조하였으니
Oh, that was a pain.
더
Okay. The subject. I can actually turn all of this into this now. Yoink. The subject. Let's see. Yep, right on. Gotcha, team leader. And that's the initial report done. Good work, guys. Taking our radio back, Ezra commended us in a relieved voice. The distortion has perished in the mission. Will that not cause trouble? Yeah, that kinda sucks, but it's not like you guys could help it. Who would have thought that the distortion would kill its own inflection point? If we knew that in advance, we probably would have prepared something to stop it, but... well, that's for the LCD and the team leader to investigate. All in all, this mission was a success since we managed to eradicate the distortion from Enco, not to mention satisfying our client. Also, Ezra looked toward Angdu and Kim with light-hearted shrug, clearly less concerned than she had been earlier. Now I finally know why you've been disappearing on your own without letting us know. Glad you don't seem to have any more reason to though, so it's all good. Hey, that's the real win of this mission in my book. Phew! The point is, we did it. We did the thing, it is done. Gosh, I swear I'm never doing one of these without team leader ever again. Seriously, I got this close to losing it more than a few times. It seems that the responsibility of looking after her LCD juniors had kept her stressed and high-strung throughout the mission. I hadn't noticed it, but her brows had finally relaxed, bringing back the chipper Ezra I was more familiar with. Thus, I shall not abide by more of your indolence. You will now join us on missions and tasks as you are expected to. Is that understood, Mentor? Hangdu, would you mind releasing the hems of my sleeve? Oh, what I wouldn't give to lie down and pass out right about now. The raw emotion in Kim's voice had likewise faded, and Angdu's voice no longer as bawd as it had been in the Fathoms. It seemed to me that the two were back to the more relaxed selves I knew. Can't exactly say the more relaxed for Kim though, cause that's how he's always been, at least from what I've seen, in any case. Fine, you are released. Phew, you've given me a good, a heart shake. I don't feel so good. Saying do, I'm afraid they may have gone overboard with upgrading your arm. With your hem released, allow me to reiterate that. Stop! My heart finds peace as well as I watch them bicker. Is everyone doing okay? Yes, Executive Manager. Our forces have only suffered minor injuries that do not require you to go through the trouble of rewinding the clock. Oh, hang on, mate. I got a dislocated shoulder. I can pop that right back into place for you. Allow me. I've taken care of similar injuries in the field. Yeah, and guess what happened the last time I let you do that? You rotated my bloody arm the wrong way and turned my bones in my shoulder into little chips. Don't sweat it, I can rewind that. By now I've already grown used to the pain of rewinding the sinner's injuries. A dislocated shoulder shouldn't be a big deal. I have ought to ask thee a clarification if thou will. Yeah? Dost thou recall now as we battled the N-Corp's pin frame team, the foes have taken photographs of us? And? They are those who were sent to identify and capture the one who hath violated a taboo, forsooth. As we stood in their path, 'tis no mystery why we had to come to blows, yet I find this to be most perplexing. Wherefore did they take so many photographs of us? Maybe they were taking photographs to report to their locations? Recording footage is taboo in N-Corp, meaning they can't install security cameras here. Their only option of keeping a consistent record when tracking down a case or a person is but photographs. Thine words hold water, yet, most puzzling forsooth. For I recall with clarity that from a certain point, they had begun photographing us with renewed obsession. Oh hey, that sounds like a question for Marisol. Given how often I had to rely on the information Marisol had provided me in this mission, I think I've gotten enough practice on how to phrase my questions the right way and pull the answers I need from him. I couldn't get him to tell us his own judgment on the matter, but since he seemed to have a near photographic memory of what he's seen... Marisol, do you remember how many pictures of us and Corp staff took? I do, 56 times. That's a lot of pictures. You actually remember the exact number of times they shot us? I do. It's always so neat seeing his memory in action. So, did you get the chance to see which one of us got the most photographs taken? I did. Oh, who is it? Who is it? Is it me? I make for a fine model if I do say so myself. Oh. You do, Rivaldio, but I think they were mostly interested in me. No, it wasn't you. It was me. Oh, right, Marisol, Enco, right. Huh. But why? I mean, what's the most statistically likely reason that it was you? It was at that moment that I heard the sound of pebbles crunching under boobs approaching us louder and louder. What the heck? Enco. Oh, dang it. Are you here because we beat up some of you guys? Listen here, we had to because of the distortion, see? It is as she says, the skirmish was an unfortunate consequence of the combating the distortion phenomena. Limbus Company provides a customer damage compensation program in case of such unforeseen events. Instead of engaging us in battle, please elect to contact the emergency response team at our headquarters as your first... Yes, we fully understand the circumstances surrounding your battle, and we intend to submit an expeditious request for damage compensation as you have recommended. But we're here on different business, so if you would be as too kind as to let us speak. Different business? You're here to arrest me, manager. Hold on, Marisol, let's hear... Wait, what? Marisol did not resist. He walked past us and joined the group of NCOP employees. Please confirm that you are Marisol, formerly one who nails, and a former member of the maintenance and management team at the Grand Magazine Sisyphe headquarters. Confirmed. By the decree of the Giants, you have been expelled from NCORP with imprisonment as the penalty for non-compliance, pursuant to Article 12 of the Eviction Regulations. You have also been informed that remaining in NCORP's district for more than 6 hours may subject you to immediate arrest. Please confirm that your memory pertaining to the above incident has not been expunged and you are of sound mind to recall it in its entirety. Confirmed. Very well. Then, in keeping with the regulations, I hereby notify you that are now subject to arrest and transport. Place your hands behind your back and please offer no resistance. I am required to inform you that resistance may incur further penalties. Wait, stop. What the hell's going on? Wait, forget all that. Did you know this would happen, Marisol? Marisol, who stood calmly with his hands behind his back as the NCOP employee handcuffed him, nodded placidly in my direction. I did, manager. Then why the heck didn't you warn... It was less of a question and more of a reflex, but I didn't need to hear his reply to know why. Right, I never asked, did I? You did not. I'd say you should have warned us way earlier, but you did just reply, we'll follow these instructions going forward, right? Yes, I would. Subject now in custody. From this moment onward, you are considered a suspect and will be transported to NCOP headquarters for your trial. As for the rest of you, would you be the organization the suspect is a part of? Organize your ass? What in the bloody hell do you think you're... Heathcliff, you're about to antagonize NCOP. Away. In the absence of a reasonable justifiable cause, such as a contract, engaging in battle with the city's corporate entities is strongly discouraged. Yeah? And we're just supposed to twiddle our thumbs while they drag him away? This must be another piece of information they neglected to tell me. Yet another development that was set in stone. Despite her calm and collected explanation, I could tell that it was not a pleasant situation for Faust either, as she was sending an uncomfortable glance at the NCOP's employees. So where are you taking him? The retrial will be scheduled for the execution of the exile sentence. They replied dispassionately as they took Marisol into custody. We looked back at them, not knowing what to do or say. The late afternoon sun pricked at us like 1,000 hot needles. Marisol, now in cuffs, gazed at us with an expression that would not have seemed out of place on any ordinary day. He's just, yeah, cool, arrest me. There you go. Bullshit. Well, gotten everything. Finally. Well, that was a story. I'm gonna buy this. Let me just collect all this stuff. Defeat 100 enemies. I guess I did that. Whew. Well, that was a difficult one. And now let me just check to confirm. Yep. Flash phenomenon. Ingoing up. Up until the 9th. Only like 10 days left. Great. Hard. I need to clear it on normal first. Okay. Check rewards. Unrolled film. A lot of unrolled film. Facade. A moonlit farewell to home. 500 for it. Oh. Limited. Okay. This is for the Ricardo. This is for the current one. Gotcha. Okay, so next time we're gonna be doing this. Active effects. Blade lineage identities apply the following effects. Okay. Okay, so the first one is just Wrath and Burn. The second one is Pride and Poise. Okay, so Burn Poise, gotcha. Final power +2, deal 30% extra damage to, and take minus 15% damage from enemies. That's bullshit. Okay. Okay. But yeah, with this, I think it is a good time for me to, stop for today. It's been a nice way to finish off the thing. And yeah, thank you everyone who dropped by. Thank you Rumples, thank you Pale, thank you Top Hat, thank you Endless. Am I forgetting anyone? Thank you Blue, of course. Yeah, you're all wonderful. Thank you for dropping by. Hope to see you again soonish. Hopefully tomorrow, maybe later, who knows. And yeah, it was good. And we accomplished what I wanted to accomplish today. Even though I was getting a little bit tired already. I'm not used to lengthy streams and whatnot. But yeah, okay. Thank you all. Good night, good luck, whatever the fuck, and bye-bye.